Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Horror Rumble. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jess,
Hi, I'm Kory.
and we're back with the Scream franchise. I'm excited because I'll just say it now. I love this franchise. You're quiet, Kory.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This is going to be fun. We had Mikey drop by from the Real Fifth Beetle, or Mike, the Real Fifth Beetle. Gives us here Retro Cac. Got Miss Blu-rays somewhere down here. Just kind of going back. One last hit. Welcome. And thanks for joining us, everybody. Do you want to start bringing on the entrance? Do you have anything to say before we do?
This franchise, what a pile. Let's bring them on. Let's get this thing going.
All right. I think most of you guys know these fine folk. Hey, Darren. First coming in, we have Sam. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me. So I really like the Scream decor, Jess. I'm so glad that somebody's like trying to be thematic here besides myself. And although I don't have anything that's ghost face, I have no t-shirts, I don't have any cool props or anything like that. I do have tits and a ribbed sweater, and that's appropriate for Scream. At least the first one. There are ribbed sweaters for miles. I love it.
I'm wearing black.
That will suffice.
I guess it's like that episode of Daria where like she decided to go alternative and it was just like a black t-shirt with jeans.
I love that show.
I know, it's the best. I'm excited, but I'm gonna hurt feelings. And Kory, I think we're both gonna be heels tonight. Lauren's definitely gonna be a heel. I don't know about anybody else.
This should be fun, all in all.
Oh my gosh.
Well, let's bring on our next entrant, Mr. J the Stingray. I think I might have another blank.
I also have tits and a sweater, so check me out. I'm also going to be a heel tonight, so this will be fun.
Ooh.
Got a lot of heels in the room.
Sorry, Jess.
All right, our final entrant. It's okay. I have enough energy for y'all. Mr. Lauren Dixon.
He's a god, he's a man, he's a ghost, he's a guru. They're whispering his name through this disappearing land, but hidden in his coat is a red right hand.
Red right Sam!
And that is the best thing about this franchise, is that they made a Nick Cave song, something that the population of the North America knows. And I want to start off properly, because if we're going to destroy this series, let's start by physically destroying something.
Do it.
Man, I can't do it.
Oh.
We have to start it.
Oh
It's
my
a tough
gosh.
one.
This is why grip strength is so important.
Oh.
Man, this is like made of like Mylar or something.
Chew it.
Got that. Yeah.
I think it's appropriate. Hulk Hogan had his t-shirts. Lauren's got slip covers. So.
You guys are awful.
Wow, we really don't want me full screen. Trust me that no one wants
there
it.
the whole night.
All right, guys, I gotta go. Jess. Have a good one.
There we go. I think we just lost Jess for a minute.
Nice.
There he is. He's back.
He bailed at what's coming.
It was awful. Made me cry. Anyway.
Trust me, Protector 2 does not need a slipcase. It didn't need to exist.
All day. All day wrestling slang.
Thank you. At least I got Sean in the chat to back me up.
I mean, I have good things to say about 1, 2, and 4. But the thing is, when I have movies that I absolutely have like so many problems with and I dislike/hate, no, I just keep going. My rage knows no bounds.
So you're like me with Halloween 3.
Yeah, yeah. a movie I hate. I mean, but it's not for everybody.
Just don't even act surprised.
I don't know if I like any of you this evening.
Well, I mean, I'm really excited to talk about Scream because this is going to be some nice counter programming when fucking Twitter gets absolutely flooded with everybody losing their shit over Scream being released on DVD, which is like Tuesday or something like that. Because
All
I
right.
can't get away from it. That's going to be in my feed all day long.
All right.
I sure hope that's a director's cut with a
All
final
right.
scene that's 30 seconds longer.
That would be fantastic with an extra slipcover, maybe even too.
Oh,
Sure.
yes.
I'll enjoy not buying that and not destroying
And
the
here-
slipcover.
I will shoplift a slipcover and just mail it to you. And you guys
Well, we have another guest who just joined us. Sorry, I think I have a bit of a lag. Hopefully, we'll catch up. Mr. Beepy Gonzalez. I mean, steak sauce.
Wait.
And welcome.
Fuck is this jabroni over here?
Hey, hold on. Before we get going, I want to see Gizmo and I want to know he's okay.
I'll be right back.
It is going to be good to see some differing opinions, Darren. And Jamie, hello. Thanks for coming by.
I probably should have said this earlier. Hello, everybody. There goes another slipcover.
Warren's over here like fucking Craig Toomey and the Langoliers just like ripping slipcovers like it's sheets of paper. It's going to go through his whole stockpile.
Oh, I got a bunch. I was gifted a bunch a little while back.
Really?
Of course.
I was
Yeah.
a gift.
Yeah. See, I won't do them all tonight, but I feel bad about
Ah, there he is.
because that's at least a good film. Don't feel bad about this at all. And
No.
this, I find disturbing that exists.
What is that? Best friend's girl?
So
I'm
No,
disturbed you own
well,
that.
I don't. I only own the slipcover because it was gifted to me to destroy.
Ooh, a gift
Oh.
or slipcover. That's lovely.
People know what to do with their stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the place for it. All right. Without further ado, shall we start getting into this so I can defend it?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'll go ahead and kick this thing off.
And of course, the
Is it just me or does that cover look like
Scream,
it
the
could be used
original,
for a porn?
1996. Most
I have
people are
such a good
familiar with this one.
right now. No.
That one's
Yeah, that's-
misleading though.
Did you put that back on?
No, I didn't. I haven't touched a thing. I promise.
I did
Those are
it.
Here.
That's what
Flame
she said.
steak.
Sticky.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and kick this thing off here. Unfortunately, my sarcasm needs work. I actually like the first Scream movie. In my opinion, it's a modern classic. I think they did a great job. Like the opening scene with Drew Barrymore is great because you would automatically assume that she's going to be the star of the movie, and they kill her off in what, the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Mhm.
So, in my personal opinion, though, the character that stole the show was Rose McGowan's nipples. Other than that, and I'm going to
That's
let
true.
everybody else kind of fill this in. So,
How many times a week do you think you see that same shot of Rose McGowan's nipples have floating around on Twitter?
you can never get enough of those.
It's at least 10 times. I mean, I'm not gonna complain about it. It's just an observation.
I will say this. Just add one more thing to this. Being a guy who's stuck in the '80s, all through the '90s, I wore ripped jeans and Skid Row T-shirts and whatnot. I can't really complain about the wardrobe that people wore in the late '90s. So, and that's a prime example. So, I'll go ahead and let everybody else continue.
I freaking loved it. I mean, my story, I didn't get to see this in theaters. The original trailer didn't get me all excited. I loved Wes Craven. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite, probably horror movie of all time. But it was that year. We always think it's longer, but it was that year in the '90s before this came out that horror was dying.
Mhm.
And I just thought, okay, this is another quick cash grab. They're trying to put Wes's name on something. As much as I love him, he hasn't always been, like that. That wasn't a guarantee at this time that this was going to be amazing. And so I skipped it, and then everybody was kind of talking about it. I still didn't know the ending, but as soon as it was out on VHS to rent, I was there, and that night I fell in love with Scream. It was awesome, and titties.
I didn't get to see it in the theater because I was like 12, and that was one of the few movies that my mom had, been like, that's actually too violent. So, which is, this is the woman that took me to see Alien 3 in the theater. So, I mean, and we saw a lot of horror movies when I was a kid, like pretty much most of the wide releases, I did, except like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, whatever. Missed out on that. Missed out on the meta stuff in theaters, and so I didn't get around to seeing it until it was on VHS. And Scream 2 was the first one that I saw in the theater. So I mean, that one still has a nostalgia, like a big ass nostalgia bump for me. And even though it's got its issues, like Jerry McConnell singing, but no, the first one is so good. And Casey Becker getting murdered in the beginning it still resonates with you. It's still horrifying to the fact that her mother is listening on the other end of the phone as her daughter is dying. It's small touches like that. And then that really brief, the brief flash that we get to see of the actual gore is, really kind of shakes you up. At least, that level of gore did for me. I mean, overall, it's still one of my top movies.
And that, and Kory mentioned it, you have Drew Barrymore, who I've been a longtime fan of, and you see her in the trailer, it's like she's the star. We've all said it before, and then they get you. I mean, yeah, that was such a bittersweet opening.
Also, Randy, like that was one of the few times that we got to see like the horror nerd like represented in film. And, since we, the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out recently, everybody's been talking about Texas Chainsaw. And then it's like, fuck Franklin. Franklin sucks. And I'm like, no, I like Franklin. He's the only one that made goddamn sense in that movie. He's kind of like the prototype for our horror nerd.
But his legs don't work.
He's a cyborg.
Oh.
Just like the governor of Texas. Well, I think it's impressive.
What's Texas?
Oh, Texas.
I have not figured that out yet.
Steak, I think it's your turn.
Hey, Steak, why don't you tell us what you think?
Hey, Steak, why don't you tell us what you think?
Joined us.
I've never seen it. 0 out of 10.
Hey, Jess, I'm having a little technical difficulty here. Can you bring them on?
We got surprise entrance.
This would be great with
I
suspenseful
wonder if
music,
we all are as it streaming.
Ooh, that would be fun.
right? Little tither-
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Shine.
Danny Shine.
Oh, Donnie boy.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think maybe this is all a rouge.
Oh, Donnie boy.
All a blush.
Is he
Exactly.
dead?
Technical difficulties all
Oh, boy, everyone's...
Oh, there we go.
What's up?
being hacked.
How's
How
it
you doing,
going,
Dan?
guys?
The Russians have hacked us.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. At least we're not
Well,
talking Halloween. So
We can if you want. We can just hijack this
I
whole
think
thing.
they have. Let's put up while we're trying to do some. I can't even get the comment up.
It's
There
a,
we go.
They make medication for that.
Read that comment. Are we?
BlueChew.com, folks.
Ben says, I remember my
I haven't
junior high
found it yet.
biology teacher coming in one day telling us he watched the scariest movie ever made before telling us about the Drew Barrymore scene.
That's kind of a great teacher, but I
I don't know. I kind of feel like that's like a case of not watching a lot of horror movies. But
no, it's fine for him to share this information with the junior high class, but it's like, man, there's so many other horror movies out there you could be talking to these kids about. Kids.
While I don't completely agree with this, I do love Urban Legend. I think it is the second best 90s horror.
You what?
It's very high up there for me.
The
Jess,
original,
I have to disagree
the
with you
original
on
Urban
that.
Legend.
No.
I think
So
it's
are you
just
saying-
as good.
Are you saying post Scream 90s or
Post Scream,
if you're gonna
basically.
compare,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
'cause
know,
if you're going
when,
to compare this with something like Candyman, I have issues with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's true. You know what? Candyman was Candyman was so good though.
You keep moving me around.
And it gave me still that 80s horror vibe. So I guess I don't always think of the original Candyman, even though it
Really?
is
You get an
90s horror.
80s vibe from Candyman?
Well, I mean, just the love. It was just a solid horror film coming out of the 80s, and
Yeah, but it's
in the
not
early
jokey.
90s,
It's not
disappointing.
stupid. The special effects aren't like obvious, like rubbery messes.
That's true.
Candyman's pure horror.
Yeah.
I love the fact that there's no humor in that. That's one thing that I hated about the new one. I thought all the humor was just goofy and pointless. Yeah,
You didn't like
Candyman.
the over-the-top gay guy?
I did not. I did not care for that, the hipster humor at all. I think Candyman is a perfect horror film, honestly. But Urban Legend, if you're just strictly talking that post-Scream wave, which I'm not very fond of, I would agree, probably. Yeah.
Nope. Faculty.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Faculty also.
Faculty was solid too. I like the Faculty
I'll
a
throw
lot.
my
Marco Beltrami doing the music in the Faculty. Same with the first 4 Scream movies. I mean, it's a big down. It's like a downvote for me with Scream 5 because it's like, it's not even there. There's some very very subtle touches that I would notice watching Scream 4, and it's just there's a part where they're just like very light bells, and it almost, at least I believe they're bells, and it reminded me of the beginning, like right before the credits open on Nightmare on Elm Street 3. So. Not the same, obviously. Like Marco Beltrami did not do the music on Nightmare 3. Not to get that confused. That was another guy named Angelo Badalamenti, I think.
Angelo Poffo.
The Twin Peaks composer. Yeah.
Oh, well, of course you get a Chicago project.
That's
live.
weird.
Brini
That's-
Green.
I would never have gotten that.
Never.
All right, back on track. Where's
So-
the sauce? Did you?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know. It scared me when I was 4 when I saw it. Well, I was like 4.5,
My
I guess.
age.
Whenever it came out on tape,
You were 4?
I was 4. In,
Oh, great.
in December
old.
of '96, I was 4 years old. Yes.
Holy crap.
I have to go
Um,
wither away.
And-
December of 96.
you're
I was 15 years old. I was in high school.
Yeah.
My God.
It scared the shit out of me. I watched it at my grandparents' house. I didn't even watch it all because it was like the beginning actually did get to me pretty good. Didn't want to go upstairs to go to the bathroom, so I was just, I'd
So you
sneak
did-
outside.
Wait, what did you do?
Pissed on the couch.
Okay.
Just I stood on one of the arms,
Filled in
pants
that.
down to the ankles, just letting it fly. But I didn't really like this movie though. Like watching it, I don't know, I guess as a teenager or whatever, it 90s horse shit, because I had lived through all the, I Know What You Did Last Summers and Urban Legends and all that shit. And wasn't really a fan of any of it because at 4 I'm sitting watching the 80s shit, which has always kind of grabbed me more than any of the 90s stuff. I've changed my mind on it over the course of, the last probably 10 years or so. By far not my favorite in the series, though. The shit with Drew Barrymore at the beginning, obviously, as everyone has kind of talked about, is still pretty fantastic, but it's long. It's like sneakily long, and that's not my bag.
Appropriately long.
No, too long.
What are you talking about?
Some say length isn't, everything.
Girth.
Yeah.
Garth.
I need a wide movie.
Well, excuse me and my long dong.
Hey,
Ding a
buddy.
shine. Oh, and we got to mention, like, before that, these, as we all know, these masks were just like in Walmart, different colors, green, purple. They were all around. So that was, I didn't know
The
what to
ones
think
with
of
the
that at first.
pumps.
Going, what? Yeah, this is not, I
had
don't
one.
even know if the pumps came later.
I had one post Scream 2 at least. It was a heart that you squeezed, and then fucking the mask would bleed. That was kind of cool. I didn't like the movie then, but I had the costume.
Well, the mask was a play on the painting, so that this film took its title from.
So, painting?
Scream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have to do some research.
No, you don't.
All right, sorry. Dan.
By research,
You've seen
Scream
you've
1.
seen it. You've seen the painting. So I remember seeing it in theaters, and I was young at the time, but I had watched a lot of horror movies at that point. I mean, since before I can remember, I was into horror, so I was fairly well versed, and I didn't get it. I remember seeing it and just not liking it very much. I did develop an irrational hate for the franchise because, that was that period where things were pretty sparse. I can remember crap fondly that came out in the late 90s because we weren't getting stuff like Little Witches and,
Oh, God.
pure garbage.
I had
Clay
a
had-
flashback.
Yes, that was one of the very first DVDs actually that I remember coming out. So I remember everything because hey, anything you got was special, and I just didn't get it. Everybody was embracing Scream. I never found it all that clever. Now again, later on, I grew to appreciate it a little more. It's not a favorite movie of mine, honestly. We did a retrospective. It'll probably be years before I feel like sitting down to watch it again. But nonetheless, horror wasn't a funk, and it got horror out of a funk temporarily. Even though I wasn't too thrilled with that wave as a whole.
Totally. Well, I mean, it did bring you like Lawrence said, the Faculty later. You had Urban Legends, as we said, Disturbing Behavior. I mean,
Valentine and
So
yeah,
you could
it kept
argue,
a wave for a half a decade.
Well, you could argue that it led to Final Destination. And if you make that argument, then it's a lot longer of a legacy, because Final Destination allowed popcorn back into horror after the torture porn wave. So I'm not going to be the most negative person here. I don't really care about these movies. I don't really like these movies, but I don't dislike any of them. They're all kind of in the same bucket of crap. So the horror drought of the 90s was a thing. There was theatrical horror films being released, but nowhere near on the schedule that we'd gotten used to in the 80s. And even a film like Candyman, right, which is an early 90s film, people tend to think of that as some huge horror hit. It wasn't. It made its money back. But cable and VHS is what made that film legendary. Its box office was very modest and very regional. So in the meantime, we had shit like Phantoms come out theatrically, and the reality is we were looking for anything that was just like competently made, and a Wishmaster film wasn't going to do it. So Scream comes out, and it's this kind of slick commercial looking product that looks like a Gap commercial and feels like Dawson's Creek, and it was very much in the zeitgeist at the moment because we were past the grunge years of the 90s, and it was kind of all seeking into more of like a collective soul type mainstream 70s rock kind of thing. Everything was kind of coming into place for something that looked like this, and it just happened to be a horror film, a slasher film at that. But the film spends remarkably little time with the slasher elements. If you really look at it, mostly it's a teen drama that just happens to have some Scooby-Doo elements and a few kill scenes. I saw this in its original release, and that's an important thing to note. This film did not do well in its opening weekend, so they pulled it and released it 6 weeks later. And then it was huge when they got the marketing right. People
Smart
forget
move.
that. People forget that.
I did forget that till you said that.
Its initial weekend was a disaster, and they retooled the marketing campaign. They didn't touch the film, which today they would have like massacred the film. Filmed a new ending, done ADR over half the dialogue, and CGI'd in whatever It actress at the moment, or a Stranger Things kid. But I saw it in its initial release, and it did feel like, hey, this is a real horror film. But it also felt like, hey, I've seen this twist ending in two Giallos, I remember. So it didn't have the effect on me that it had on other people, and it looked like cotton candy, so I wasn't thrilled with that direction. But at the time, there was nothing else that looked like cotton candy, so I was kind of okay with it, because maybe it was just this movie had that look, whatever. As we go on, we'll discuss more about how problematic that television-inspired wave of horror was. But I didn't hate it. I just didn't feel much about it at all. So I was really shocked when it became a huge deal for the genre and for films in general. I just didn't see the magic that other people saw.
Do you guys? Do any of you guys remember? Oh, I'm sorry, Jess.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just curious to see if you guys remember what the reaction of the audience was in your screenings of Scream 3. I mean, wow, I just jumped 2 screams ahead. No, the first Scream. I was thinking about Scream 3.
I know.
There were a lot of I can remember teen girls like jumping out of their seats, and I was just sitting there confused. Little Dan. No, I mean
Or Dan.
It doesn't look like a horror movie. That's the thing when I revisit these movies a lot now. They look a lot like their time period, and they just, I don't know. I didn't get it then. I probably get it a little bit more now, but yeah. But hey, people were jumping out of their seats. I do fondly remember that. So I just wasn't one of them.
There were maybe 10 people in the theater with us when it played and on that opening weekend, and I can't remember anyone's reaction at all. So there was no audible reaction. I'm fixated on the screen when I'm in the theater. I don't really pay attention to other people unless it's like a Freddy versus Jason in Harlem situation, which is awesome. Then you're an idiot if you're watching the screen.
What? I need that story.
True. Well,
I
think that's going to change on Scream 2 as far as audience reaction.
I can send you a copy of that.
Oh,
I'd be interested in that.
That was my best theatrical experience. Say what you will about the movie. I saw it in Texas, actually. Then there was a guy that came in, he looked screen accurate as Jason, and he had a real machete with him, which I thought was hilarious. Wouldn't go over too well now.
Yeah, well, we're not that open, Carrie.
I can tell you, I did not see the movie in theaters at all, but I actually heard about it from my boss. So came into work with his wife, and he's like, "I just seen this movie. It's really cool. You need to check it out." And I was like, "What's it called?" And so he told me. So I ended up having to wait until it got released on VHS, and then went out and bought the tape. But that was actually anything that I had heard about the movie. So I didn't even know there was a movie coming out at that point. So
Yeah.
Did nobody here really appreciate the whodunit aspect?
I do. I love that about this franchise, and except for the fact that there's no real whodunit in 5. It's disposable for me. But I do love that fact about it. That's what, okay. I'm not trying to push this into a segue into Scream 2, but this is Scream 2 related. So when I saw that movie in the theater, you know, and I'm like 13 years old and I'm really excited because it's like, ooh, I get to see like horror movies every weekend now because, you know, Scream just pushed those all to the forefront. So Gail comes out at the end, right? And you know, you don't really see that Debbie's behind her with the gun. And fucking 13-year-old me just exclaims in the theater, Gail Weathers! Not totally unironically. So you know, that will always have a tiny space in my heart for it's like when I'm 80 years old, I'll look back on that moment and I'll still be amused by it.
Why do I think when you're 80 years old, you're going to have a poodle named Gail Weathers? And you're going to do exactly that like 5 times a day.
A
Oh my God.
taxidermied poodle.
Gail Weathers! You didn't eat all your food. Are you sick?
He's sick. It's a
Did I
coming
turn into an old Jewish woman? What happened?
Yeah.
Apparently, you'll move to Staten Island too.
Oh boy. I fit in just fine, I think.
Imagine moving to Staten Island.
Right? Not escaping from.
I don't know if anybody brought this up, but I had to jump off for a couple of minutes. Did anybody else realize or like say anything about how if you go back and rewatch, you can see clues that point to who the killers are in the movie?
Oh, like in the first one?
Yeah.
I know somebody mentioned the dolls hanging in Stu's attic.
Well, even when they're sitting outside and Stu's like, I didn't kill anybody. And Billy responds to him and says, nobody said you did.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see that for sure.
There was another scene where Sydney runs into Billy in the hallway at the high school after he gets released from police custody. And I forget the line that he says, but he's making reference to it wasn't him or whatever. And as he's saying that, you can, if you watch his eyes look in the direction where Stu and Tatum were.
Huh. I didn't notice that part.
I didn't either until yesterday when I watched it. So,
do you guys think that if you took out Drew Barrymore and that just Drew Barrymore in general at the time, that would have changed how people saw this film, as though Psycho never happened, that was a huge shock that Drew Barrymore dies early? Do you think that would have changed anything? Maybe it wouldn't have been the phenomenon it was, because I remember back then that's all I heard. It's like, oh my God, Drew Barrymore is only in it for like 5 minutes.
Like remove that scene altogether?
I think it would definitely have had a different
don't have a
effect
name
on the
like
movie.
Drew Barrymore, not the scene necessarily, but you know, big name
I don't
like
think-
Drew Barrymore.
I don't think it would have, like, if you took Drew Barrymore out, I don't think most people would have cared. I mean, what did we remember Drew Barrymore for back in the 90s? Showing her tits on Letterman and being like a druggy, alcoholic child star. That's what I grew up with anyway.
Well, E.T. I mean, she was, you know, America's.
You see, now wait. This is
She
a
ran
great
in the
moment for me to
90s.
completely like hijack for a second. But I recently was talking about the fact that no one gives a fuck about a new Firestarter film, and you just proved my point that no one remembered her from Firestarter.
No, I don't
did.
think
Firestarter, Cat's Eye.
But no one jumped to it. No one cares about Firestarter. No one cares about the new movie.
Correct. I mean, I remember she was in it, but again, didn't bring it up because I don't care.
No one cares.
that new superhero movie that they're advertising.
Oh. And I don't know who they think they're appealing to by blowing up a crow. It's like, oh, that's our hero, killing animals indiscriminately. This will work.
Yeah.
I will say that I think it's more the look of the film and the kind of like, again, Dawson's Creek WB attitude was what really sold the movie. I think that got all the.
I don't know what else to say.
I think that's what got all the 20-year-olds onto the theaters.
Yeah, and also it's like
more than any stunt casting.
It's like, is anybody showing up for Drew Barrymore's acting abilities at 96? I mean, also that wig is doing most of the acting during the scene.
I liked it.
Actually, I have no idea if it's a wig, but it looks like a wig. It's too perfect. Thoughts? Am I the only one that thinks this is a wig?
I don't have
never
any
thought
comment
about it.
on
I've never thought about it.
hair.
Well, now you're all gonna think about it.
Unless there's spider eggs in it, I don't care.
Ooh, that's a good deleted scene.
Unfortunately, and Jess can attest to this, when it comes to hair, mine's the only one I'm worried about. So
I don't have a big relationship with hair.
I'm just picturing Warren wearing Drew Barrymore's wig and Scream now, and it's the best mental picture I've ever had.
All right, one of you people in the chat, get working on that. He has got a whole channel of his face. Let's pop that face on Drew Barrymore's body. Let's get real weird with this.
You know, Steak, I have plenty of audio recording that I can manipulate of you already recorded.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm calling for the people to take up for me and dish a little bit back on you.
What
Snake
happened to
sauce is for the
Jay?
people.
I don't know. I was gonna go to Jay, but he's gone.
You depressed him with that
I don't
crow.
know if he had technical difficulties. He was
He
tired.
and I don't talk.
Tired of our shit.
Darren, you'd be right, but there was a number of years where Scream clones were at the box office height, and there weren't really Blair Witch clones galore. There was a sprinkling of television projects and things and direct to video, but
All parodies of it mostly. You had like the hip hop witch, the bogus witch project. Yeah, there really wasn't, which was weird.
The Bear Wench Project.
I do have all 5 of those. Yes,
Oh wow, they made 5 of those.
they did.
The Golden
I only
Cow
see
Project.
the first one.
now there's a Walmart box set in the dump bin for you. You go there with the Pirates series.
Well, and the Blair Witch Project. You're right. Again, did make an impact in the late '90s, but wasn't it like 1999 and in the
Yes.
fall, late
Yeah.
fall?
October.
So
The Scream wave was kind of on its last legs at that point. There's not as many Scream knockoffs as you'd think, really, when you start counting them down.
It's like 9.
Yeah, less than a dozen, I'd say. That there really weren't that many. Even lower budget stuff, to be honest. Do You Want to Know a Secret is one off the top of my head, and there were a few others, but not many.
the Scooby Doo Project.
Cole, I
forgot-
promise we didn't boot him.
And
Oh,
He's had some laptop issues, so I'm sure that's it.
me too.
Or
Oh, and by the way, yes. Hi, Levi. Thanks for dropping by, man. And of course, Cole from Jet Silver Avenger, and many others. All right. Well, should we move on to Scream 2 before we
before
heard
we
the
spend the
original
whole
anymore?
time talking about the first one.
So I think what we should have done is just record our conversation about Scream 1 and just replay it for the next 5 films or so. ADR 2 into split for 3
Just cover your mouth with your
because they're the same goddamn movie.
I'll try and say
It's
something.
Scream
Right.
Poo.
Not. It's not. It's what you want.
How is it not?
Opinion out of a sequel. Well, it is, but it isn't, and that's what I want out of sequels. You know, you don't want them to change it too much, or you're gonna hate it for ruining your favorite horror movie or franchise.
Horror movie.
Horror movie.
I love Nev Campbell's hair in this movie. Also, Gail Weathers. I like the red streaks in her hair, and I like the whole aesthetic of Scream 2. The movie itself is not, it's not doesn't really hold up super well upon any rewatches. I can just do without Jerry O'Connell, and just also that's the guy. That's the guy that you chose, Sydney. Jesus Christ. Oof. I don't know. There's something like
I love Jerry
She chose a
O'Connell.
hunk. Oh dear me! Heavens, no! You mustn't do that.
No, I don't
Jerry-
like. Nah, it's like a fucking Ken doll. It's just like his hair's too perfect. He dresses too well. Oh, he's majoring. He's gonna be a doctor. No.
He was fat turned hunk. He's my hero. I'm
gonna
on the
say the
same
fat kid from
journey
Stand By
right
Me.
now.
And I will stand right here and defend Jerry to the end. He is one
I
of the
like-
nicest guys I've ever met in Hollywood.
I like Sliders as much as the next person, and Joe's Apartment is still a fucking great movie. I just don't like Derek the character. That's all. But you know what? Jerry O'Connell got paid. That's fine. Oh my God, yes. It is.
Hey, I like Saved by the Bell the college year.
I did too.
Nobody said Sliders.
I did. Wait, did you?
Literally,
Yeah. Did she? All right.
Yeah.
I missed Sliders. Sliders.
That's Charlie
I made that
O'Connell.
fun joke about being hungry.
First 4 seasons of Sliders, at least.
By next year, Steak's gonna have a 6-pack, and he's gonna just shove us all in lockers.
I hope he gets up on a table and starts singing at some point.
Training Man?
I have that. You cocksucker.
No, do not slide into my DMs. Ignore my husband, please.
That's funny. And it is a great opening in that theater. That's in Pasadena. I've been in that theater. Last I knew it was shut down.
That is a really good opening, though. I mean,
well, I've got a question about the craftsmanship or whatever of the doors and the dividers and the stalls. I mean, California makes some really cheap shit. I mean, those knives go right through those. Every single movie, somebody's sticking a knife through. Well, at the beginning of 2, they what's his name? In the beginning, in the bathroom stall, yeah, gets stabbed in the ear through the fucking bathroom stall wall. The doors get punctured like they're paper. I mean,
I always think of the penis from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Well, those doors are all California Prop 65 doors. You know, they be careful about the materials they use.
It's like all eco-friendly, sustainable construction. So
absolutely,
a dick will just go right through it, man.
Yeah. Those materials are not knife resistant.
No.
Unfortunately,
apparently not.
What I love about that is in every other movie, people like hide behind like desks to stop gunshots. Though apparently bullets can't go through doors,
no,
but knives can. This is Hollywood logic.
It's the movie world, man.
Now, with all that being said, I actually enjoyed Scream 2. I don't think it's necessarily as good as the first one, but I think it's fun.
I do. At times, I think it's almost better than the first one.
Well, any scene that has Rebecca Gayheart in it, I'm fully on board with. But I mean, the rest of the movie is good. It's just I enjoy it.
The bimbo's not getting slaughtered. Missed opportunity, but I guess we're over here with this sequel. We're subverting expectations, huh?
And how the hell does Buffy the Vampire Slayer kill vampires but get stabbed by some dude?
I love that scene.
It's still very good, yes. Sarah Michelle Gellar is awesome in most horror movies that I've seen her in.
She is.
I should say the generic Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Christy Swanson is Buffy.
Yeah,
Jamie makes a good point that we're going to skipping right to the end of Scream 2. And I love the actress Laurie Metcalf, Billy's mother.
But this is the thing that I kind of have a problem with, because this was kind of the point where we're just like, well, anybody could be the killer. Aunt Jackie's the killer, and it's like, you ain't lifting shit. Did you? How many pounds of muscle you put on with that makeover, Debbie? Because you're gonna need some. I hope you got some upper body strength, and but it's enough for me to suspend my disbelief, because it's like, okay, Mickey's the other killer. He's probably doing a lot of the legwork. And also it's like, okay, Debbie's powered by revenge. Unfortunately, this kind of opens the door for us to get fucking Amber in Scream 5. And I'm like, fuck that.
I will also throw in Steak. Now you know who killed Roseanne.
Well, I better scrap that whole series then. God damn it. No, but I always thought that was quite believable that, Aunt Jackie could be the killer. She was a policewoman. She was a trucker. And a lot of strength for both those jobs to do them effectively. Also, I mean, she's over the road anyways. She can just, I was over in Cincinnati. Wasn't in California at a college murdering people. She's Lanford Tough, okay? But I'll say quickly because my time is drawing near.
Do you
Scream
want
2 is
yeah.
the movie that actually kind of made me recalibrate and give the first one a second. The second one was my favorite until I saw 4 several years after. My rankings for the series are probably much different than most others. But yeah, I like this one a lot. I fucking that stupid little I think I love you scenes. I don't know. It's just a favorite of mine. It's just cheesy and stupid. Probably really doesn't belong, but just
I
makes
love it too.
feel funny.
I love
I
it.
may have my timelines mixed up here, but was that? Am I wrong in thinking that that was just a thing that they did in movies around that time? You had Jerry O'Connell do it in Scream 2. Heath Ledger did it in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Well, it makes sense in 10 Things I Hate About You. Also, that movie is still wonderful.
It's a good movie. Did I say that out loud?
I like the movie too, Jess. It's okay.
Scream 2. I did
Lauren's sitting there
see it in
silently
theaters.
judging us.
There are a lot of people silently judging right now. Saw Scream 2 in theaters. Great audience. Great, great time. Still in high school. I was riding off the fire of the first Scream because I saw it on video, so a little late than some people. And man, again, just as good to me, if not better than the first one. That's all. Go ahead. Anybody else?
I mean,
go ahead.
No, you go, Dan. I've been talking all night.
Oh, that's okay. I don't have as much to say, so I'll go quickly. This one's fun. I'll admit, like, Aunt Jackie is the killer. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
By this point, I had kind of reassessed my feelings on the franchise. I don't love it, but I'm not gonna hate it just because I viewed it as the reason I wasn't getting the type of horror that I would have liked to have seen more of, Candyman, stuff like that. I had a good time with this. I kind of started to get it a little bit more, turn my brain off and just have fun with it. The cast is very interesting in this. I am a big Timothy Olyphant fan, and I am going to send you all of those steak. I'm going to find them all. And yeah, it's not a terrible movie by any means. I actually can kind of see why you rank it above one steak.
All right, Sam.
Oh,
thoughts?
yeah. I mean, I forgot. My train of thought got derailed. No, but I mean, I think one of the things I like about Scream 2 is, even on rewatches, you've kind of invested in those characters, and so it actually really does suck when Randy gets killed, especially if you were a horror nerd and you felt yourself like fairly well represented, and because I mean, it's not like a common trope that we get very often, but it'll probably change more. I'm trying to think of who else got killed in that movie that I actually cared about.
You think they'll ever find a way to bring Randy back? Because that's what everybody seems to want.
I hope not.
I hope not. And as much as I loved him too, like Sam said, it was sad, but I think they did the best they could with Scream 3, with bringing Randy back. That's about all you can.
Yeah, and I mean, I love Heather Matarazzo so I really like to see her have a bigger part.
It's just DJ's dumb girlfriend.
No, she's done a lot more than that, and I was begging for her comeback in Scream 4 as one of the main cast. Bring her up. So it was a nice treat, which we'll get to, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, seeing her in Scream 3, I was like, "Hey, it's the Welcome to the Dollhouse girl." Everybody thought that.
Wiener dog.
Yep.
Had you watched Welcome to the Dollhouse by the time Scream 2 came out?
Speaking of
think
wiener
so.
dogs.
That must be Dan's dogs.
Yeah, my wife's dog actually being pretty quiet tonight. So
I don't know if. Oh my gosh. I don't think
My
I had
dog
seen Welcome
died.
to the Dollhouse. No, maybe I must have. Well, obviously I must have because that's how I recognized her.
Did you?
Yeah,
Ghost,
I mean,
you're not wrong.
yeah, I mean, I've seen it. It's just been a while, so. The Friends of Horror.
Oh, I thought Jess was showing his tits in his sweater.
Well, it says friends. I don't know if you can read it from my screen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well,
Pinhead
Jess,
on there?
He is not.
Well, that's bullshit then.
I agree, Dan.
Well, he's
He's
going to pop
Pinhead.
Pennywise's balloon if he gets too close.
It is kind of a weird mix of characters, but I still love it.
Who all you got on there?
That's the horror shit out of there.
Pennywise, it's Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, Chucky, Jigsaw, and Ghostface.
Yeah, you could take Pennywise out,
And he's dead center.
replace him with Pinhead.
Pennywise?
Yes.
No, Pinhead should not be in the middle.
He doesn't
Neither
have to be
should
in the middle. You
Pennywise.
can just take Pennywise out and replace him with
Okay, in general.
reorder
Freddy
the
goes in the
people.
middle.
So it seems like the Friends show was kind of like equally male female, and the shirt does not represent that very well.
Well, it doesn't.
You need Sadako up there, the Bride of Frankenstein, Paula Dupree from Captive Wild Woman. You gotta have it be diverse like the show.
Version 2, Volume 2 of
Sexist
this
piece of
shirt.
shit.
Make it, Lauren. Make some dough.
You cishet shit lord.
That's why it's Scream 2 comment.
Hold on.
It's so cute.
I gotta see this.
Aw, that's fun.
Can you put that on a shirt?
No. I'm still
Please.
working on the don't parking shirt, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll wait.
They're
Nah.
amazing. That's why they're all the same.
Saw it in theaters. I think I went to a matinee of this one because I didn't want to deal with the crowd that I knew was showing up. And it was beat for beat the first film. I mean, from a structural standpoint, it is the first film. I think your preferences will just come into individual scenes execution. I thought the ending, the third act, was miserable. And that became a running theme with all the films from here on out, is that none of them can land the ending. The first film at least landed the ending, even though I wasn't as shocked as most people tend to be. Oh, there's two killers. It wasn't the first time I'd seen a film with two killers. Hell, Tenebrae does it, and everyone knows that movie. But yeah, I mean, I walked out saying, okay, I paid matinee prices. That's cool.
Hey.
Yeah.
Was that a nickel back then?
Ooh.
97?
Well, the big problem is you had to tip the horse-drawn carriage.
That'll always get you.
The stamp
Fire
stuff.
up the Nickelodeon.
And yeah, we'll get to that, Darren, on these posters. Basically, the rest of them, it's all even up to now when they at least have a secondary poster, always with the floating heads.
But folks,
I
sorry.
hope you're joking.
I gotta make my escape here.
Do you want
I will
to?
say Scream 3 worst of the series by far, like fucking far and away. It's so much worse than any of the other ones. 4 is the best. I'll fight anyone that says otherwise. 5 was good. I don't know where I'd rank it. I saw it in the theaters. There's that whole euphoria kind of thing that goes on, for me when I watch it in the theaters. So even if it's a pile of shit, unless it's 47 meters down, uncaged,
Oh God, that movie.
I'm usually going to have a good time. But and Halloween Kills was awful, but we're not going to talk about that. Off the Grill Podcast, 30 p.m. in the East on my channel. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for having me. Iris loves you.
Night snake.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. All right. Anybody else have their thoughts on Scream 2? Last thoughts?
Great soundtrack.
Agreed.
There you go. Jamie Kennedy is very underrated. Also, as a dramatic actor, if you've watched some of his more recent stuff, so I will throw that out. I think the series missed him quite a bit.
I can't. After Malibu's Most Wanted, I would rather pour bleach in my eyes than ever watch another Jamie Kennedy movie. And I'm not. I saw that movie in the theater.
Oh,
I didn't pay for the tickets, thankfully.
did
I
you
feel
think
similar.
it was going to be good though?
I had high hopes for that movie because I love Jamie Kennedy from the Scream movies, and I'm like, ooh, that was awful. That was awful.
That ruined it for me with him for many, many years. So, but I think he has redeemed himself lately in a few movies. Not necessarily great movies, but he himself.
He played a really chilling serial killer on Criminal Minds. He can act. I think, Son of the Mask really killed.
Oh, Jesus, why would you talk about Son of the Mask, man?
I had forgotten about it till you just said something.
Jesus fucking Christ.
The behind the
That
scenes
movie.
on that movie is very interesting. It was that was a career killer.
His career was pretty well dead for a while after Malibu's Most Wanted, wasn't it? Or
That was actually kind of a sleeper hit, if I remember. It was Son of the Mask. Just God, if you've ever actually tried to watch that movie,
I've watched it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one. I don't think I saw the version though where it had like the sperm and the egg though.
yeah. There was a lot of weird shit planned for that movie, but he does a podcast and he talks about that, interestingly enough, and how it did effectively kill his career.
Can we can I just throw something out there that never gets talked about this series? That the Scream series has a Friday the 13th fetish in a big way. Not just in the obvious way of like starting the film off, the first trivia question being the Friday the 13th question, but does anyone else notice that they're basically just remaking the first Friday the 13th? Right down to the Randy character is your Crazy Ralph. I mean, they're the same movie structurally.
I never thought of it that way because I always thought the influence was more from Halloween, but you do make a point there.
Well, they're whodunits like the original sort of is. The ending is fairly arbitrary in that they probably could have shifted the killer's identity to any one of the cast members and it would have been fine, or someone completely off screen.
Yeah.
And by the time the second film comes around, they're just doing the crazy mother for the ending. So, I mean, there's this big Friday the 13th fetish for the Scream series. And Randy literally is just Crazy Ralph saying, you're all doomed in his own way. That's it.
Good point.
The Scream franchise, innovative's not a word I would ever use
No,
to describe it.
no. It was all surface level innovation of making it look like popular pop television and look, have that kind of. Here's the thing: like the original Friday the 13th, when you watch it, these bunch of 1979 teenagers or young 20s, right? Same basic demographic as you have in Scream. But the one thing I would say is that those Friday the 13th characters don't seem to have aged into history quite as badly as the Scream characters did. The Scream characters feel very much of their time, more, I would say, than the original Friday the 13th characters have. And that's kind of preposterous considering that there's like, what, 26 years between them?
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out because it never gets discussed and it kind of like destroys me every time people talk about Scream as this like big flashing red light in the sky that saved everything. It's like, yeah, but all they really did is, it was like Wes Craven looked and said, my career's in a slump. What did Sean do two and a half decades ago?
Oh, see, this is why we need you here on this show for these insights. Because I didn't think about it that way at all.
So even this, if you want to look at it this way, right? The Drew Barrymore scene is just the hitchhiker from the first film going to the camp. We're following her. She seems to be the main character and she gets killed. It's literally beat for beat. It's Friday the 13th.
Well, you guys have said a couple of times or mentioned that Scream saved horror in the 90s. Is it so much that it saved it or just kind of
I
pointed
definitely see the
people
points
in
you're
that
making.
direction, because there were good horror movies that were out there. They were just straight to video that probably would have been released in theaters in the 80s. So would it be more to say that it was kind of more showing a light towards horror at that point?
So what really happened in the 90s that led to the Great Horror Drought is something that, again, horror fans don't have much of an interest in. But the mom and pop theaters that made all these 80s films popular were gone. They were all bought up by major corporations and became multiplexes that played the same 6 or 8 movies, 40 times a day. And the little independent films, the stuff that's easily now licensable to boutique labels for home video release, these films were affordable for the mom and pop theaters, and that's why they put them on screens for weeks on end. And they also weren't coming out on video in 6 months, let alone 1 month as it is now. So there was room for these films to breathe and develop a following. Some of them were regional rolling releases, whereas, hey, we're going to be in Chicago this week. Next week, we're going to do New York. And the week after that, we're going to do Tennessee. And because of that, movies had a chance to gain a reputation. When you got to the 90s, that was all dead. So a movie had to, for the first time, if you didn't make it in a weekend, the theaters were going to abandon you. And that's only grown since then. But so horror usually needed that kind of slow word of mouth buildup, and it was being denied that. And by the time you get to some things like Independence Day being in these screens, there was just no way for a small independent horror film to compete with that on a national, wide release. So unfortunately, even something like Candyman couldn't compete. And that's probably one of the best made films in the 90s period, regardless of genre. So,
Yep.
All right, you guys ready to go on to Scream 3?
Ooh.
Yes, I'm gonna go take a leak because we're doing Scream 3, so I feel this is an appropriate time.
Oh, well, we know how you feel about it. Yeah, exactly, Darren, exactly.
Well,
All right.
I was done by this point.
Really?
Yeah, I had enough, and when I saw Scream 3, I was just like, please no more. I think Scream 3 is awful. If I had to say one nice thing about it, I do like Parker Posey. She's good in the movie, but
She's hilarious, I think.
yeah, she is. It just, at this point, I just really felt we were already beating a dead horse. I hated 3 so much. Now, I will say, in fairness, before the new film had come out, I didn't get to rewatch it, so I'm going on memory, but I really don't think I'd soften on Scream 3 because I just remember hating everything. I think it's the worst of the franchise, and I don't think it's even close. But maybe somebody in the chat disagrees. I don't know if there's any love for Scream 3. I just don't even get why there would be.
I didn't hate it, but at the time it was definitely the weakest of the trilogy. And I saw it in theaters. I love the opening scene with Cotton. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, it was weak, and I think they knew at the time too that you couldn't go too much further. That's why originally I feel they really thought it was going to be just a trilogy, and we not revisit this for a long, long, long time. In a way, they didn't, but I don't know. I thought it was solid enough. Here we go
What's
again.
Lauren saying?
It's But I don't think I would personally trade that, in. You stray too far. If you're doing a franchise, then you're gonna disappoint me too.
The value of a franchise is its reliability, in that you're right. But there's a primary difference between what came before as big franchise pieces and what Scream did, which is literally just put a piece of tracing paper over the old film and trace out the new one. They're remarkably similar, like frighteningly similar, more than any other franchise.
There's a formula. A simple formula.
What do you do with it now? Like, because I can't come up with any. I mean, I certainly you could make a better film than some of the other sequels, but I don't know what else you do with Scream at this point.
Well, we'll get to it, but I think you do what they just did, and I think they did it almost better than 4. I don't know. You're never going to top the first 2 for me, and I think that's a lot of people's feelings. I'd like to see what Lauren would do with a Scream sequel. And
Wouldn't that be the
in all
worst thing ever?
seriousness,
Hollywood finally calls me, and they want
And
me to
it's
make a fucking Scream movie.
Scream 6. Oh,
Well,
I
they're
would love it.
already.
I can tell you that Scream 3 is, in my opinion, is definitely the worst of the franchise, but I don't think it's all that bad. I think some of the dialogue is cringy. I think they could have done without all the dream sequences of Sydney's mom. But outside of that, I can't say I hated the movie. I will say that this is the movie that made me realize that the Scream movies are 2 hours long. And it was like, I never noticed it in the first 2. And I don't notice it in the last 2. But this one, you definitely feel that it's 2 hours long, and it shouldn't be.
And I kind of agree with Ben as much as I love it. That is kind of a waters down the first one with that.
Well, at least they were trying to do something a little different. At least in my opinion, they didn't have 2 killers in this one. They only had 1. I think they were trying to do something a little different, and it just, I think for most people, it fell flat. So
Levi kind of, he likes it, but he couldn't argue with you, Lauren, it sounds like, either. It would be hard to argue that it needs to exist, but I think you could say that about a lot of sequels to franchises we love. But to me, it needed to exist. It needed to exist to get parts 4 and 5.
But that's a rough road.
That's an indictment.
Ben, you just did. Thanks.
Maybe
are
it
we covering
needed...
the TV series? Sorry, Dan, I do want to hear these.
no,
No, but I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to mention it. There is a TV series. We mainly stick to the movies. I've never seen the series. I don't know anybody else.
To.
I don't
I
care
haven't
to.
either.
I watched maybe a handful of episodes, and I wasn't impressed. But I'm sure somebody would disagree. What I saw of it was not very good at all. So
the only thing I needed to see was that they changed the mask. I didn't need to see any more after that.
Yeah. I don't even see it pleasing fans of Scream.
No.
To be honest, I thought it was kind of cheap, and I know it started on MTV, and then I think it moved somewhere else. But if you've never watched it, there's a lot of good horror TV out there right now. I wouldn't waste your time. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, I watched a couple episodes of Scream of the TV series, and then just like, man, this is just rolling off my smooth ass brain. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, there is better horror TV out there, and it's hard to consume everything. But you know what? The Hannibal series, that 3rd season is a fucking dumpster fire in the most amazing ways. It's going in all directions.
I love Hannibal. I thought they did a great job on Hannibal. Some really dark shit that you would not expect to see on NBC. If you've ever watched that show, it's amazing what they got away with.
Yeah.
Really amazing. Especially Verger's character. I mean, I can't believe they were able to do that on NBC. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about 3 because I haven't rewatched it in many, many years. But maybe we needed Scream 3 to move on because that was 2000, I believe.
Yeah,
it was. Me on the okay. Yeah, so it was really then
that's kind of what I was meaning earlier.
Yeah, to move on because I don't remember a lot of people loving Scream 3
when
it came out. Yeah.
I feel like the argument of Scream 3 is, oh, it's campy, it's kitschy. I don't like that argument. You're making excuses for a bad movie. It's the same thing I see with Seed of Chucky. That's I'm just like it's doesn't like what it sticks out like a sore ass thumb in this franchise. Gale's bangs are horrendous. Everybody knows it. Did nobody say that's what happened? Did you cut your hair? Did you cut your own bangs? I mean,
Yeah, but it made Parker's imitation so much funnier. Her character.
Parker Posey is the highlight of the movie, and it's nice
Yeah.
to see Carrie Fisher show up briefly. It's just like, well, Scream goes Hollywood, and I guess we're trying to, make some pithy commentary about Hollywood, but if you look back and it's like, yeah, I don't know if that works with the whole Weinstein thing. That didn't age very well as a commentary. Dude.
Get in here,
Again,
Jake. Defend it with me. I need your help.
You'll be the
I'm
only
just
one, Jake.
drowning tonight.
I
Drowning.
would
Get in here,
Scream 3
Jake.
does not exist.
Well, let me pose this question to you guys again, in a little bit different way. Is Scream 3 really that bad, or is it just in comparison to 1 and 2? The first 3 Poison albums were awesome, then they came out with Native Tongue, and it didn't sell for shit.
I don't think it was ever.
Then again, it
awesome
led us
for
to
me,
4 and 5.
so-
I mean,
That's why you're here. We're rumbling.
It's just not, I mean, like, I'm comparing it to even 4, which came after. 4 is great. Like, 3 and 5 are absolute huge weak points for me. I'd rather watch Scream 3 than Scream 5 again. But again, this is one of those things that's like, no, I don't care if we got Scream 4 out of the nightmare of Scream 3. That I don't want to have to go and rewatch that movie every time like new Scream movies come out so I can like refresh myself. It's like literally a painful experience for me.
Levi makes a good point to that. I think he's talking about 3 still, as far as what you guys are saying too. It does flow kind of like it, because it was rewritten over and over because they were so trying to keep that leak from leaking.
Lauren, you look like you wanted to say
And
something.
people were giving stuff last minute.
I just, to answer your question directly, it's not a matter for me of comparing it with the other Scream movies. I don't have really much feelings for the Scream franchise, period, except that it did give horror this kind of a whitewashed, clean Apple TV kind of look to it. But there's just too many good things out there for me to try and find some way to justify watching shit like Scream 3 ever again. I'd rather give a movie sight unseen that I'm hearing good things about, whether new or old, the chance, as opposed to just something that I've quite literally seen twice before. And
I can't wait to see it again for a 6th time.
It's very broad this time with 3. Broad is a synonym for stupid in this case. But I'm not sure that helps or hurts for me. It just is more of the same, but goofier. And it was one where I saw an audience reaction or read an audience reaction afterwards that they were dissatisfied, but I didn't see a massive difference. To me, it was just the Scream shit again, So I don't know.
I do have one question, and if this comes off wrong, I apologize now, but am I the only one who thought that and I don't know the actor's name, so I'm sorry, but the black guy in Scream 3, am I the only one who thought that was Dooley Hill? From Psych?
I know.
Automatically loves you now, Kory, because you made a Psych reference.
Actually, Deion Richmond, I believe, is the actor you're talking about.
I agree with Jamie, by the way.
Yeah, similar kind of did that similar career path. I don't know if you know what happened to him, but he ended up being paralyzed. I believe it was a motorcycle accident. He's on Fear the Walking Dead now.
Okay.
In a wheelchair. That's pretty inspirational story if you read up on him. But yeah, similar actor.
All right.
I feel like ghosts do not belong in the Scream series, and it's kind of like one of the things that kills it for me in 3 and 5. I'm like, what are we doing? This is not a ghost story. It is a whodunit slasher.
Yeah, but we'll talk about
They're
it
more
in
dream
5, but
psychological.
well, I was going to say we'll talk
Yeah, I
about
agree. I don't
about
want
5
ghosts
more, but
or paranormal.
They're shitty. They're shitty misdirects of what they are.
Yeah.
And I just realized I believe I also got the wrong black actor, so I apologize. We're both getting canceled now.
You
Ah,
got
shit.
shit. This is why.
Are you sure? I'm
This
pretty
time-
sure you said the right name.
No, it's Dion Richmond, but he was not the actor on Fear the Walking
okay.
Dead. So I screwed it
Wait,
up in a different way.
Did you just paralyze the wrong actor?
I paralyzed the wrong actor.
Jesus.
And
Oh,
after I
wow.
said it, then I'm like, oh shit, that's not him. My bad.
I like Dion
Ah,
in
shit.
the third
Ghost
one.
just canceled us.
Too,
So.
though, so.
I haven't
Canceled.
watched 3 in a long time. That's why
The next Horror Rumble will just be an apology tour.
yeah.
Dr. CZ.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
there's some truth with that.
I'm
Wow, yeah,
surprised
exactly.
I'm surprised more of
It's
Horror
been a
Twitter
while.
hasn't come out to cancel the Scream series, because all they do is slut shame. They slut shame Sydney's mom. They slut shame Sydney when she actually does lose her virginity. Where's Horror Twitter in this? Where are my
Good
social
point.
justice warriors?
Good point.
You know, I haven't seen anybody talking about Russia and Ukraine. I'm very disappointed in all of you people.
You want to talk about Russia and Ukraine? You know what I'm very excited about? That Sting can finally start singing Russians again on tour.
What was he saying before?
Well, no, he's during Cold War, and he would sing Russians all the time. It was a big hit for him. But then, after the Cold War, it didn't make any sense. Now it does again. So Sting can sing some Russians again.
I'm so glad that he's still going to be getting paid in this tough in this tough economy.
Wow. Until someone reads the lyrics to "Don't Stand Too Close to Me" and realizes what it's about, then he'll be canceled as well.
Is it about erections? I don't know.
I didn't know Steve Borden could sing.
Now you confused me.
Sam got it. I'm sure Dan got it.
Oh God.
It's a wrestling reference.
Oh God.
I'm
Yeah.
glad I didn't
Sorry.
get
I just
I'm just
my
trying
brain
to think.
kind of hit a wall for a second because I wasn't expecting that. I was like, Jesus Christ, man.
Old wrestling I can do. New wrestling, you guys have me on that. So
That's fine. Sting's everywhere.
I'm trying to think who that actor is now, Ghost, because now I feel really bad and I can't find him on IMDb. But no, it was not. The other guy is still walking.
well, that's good for him. Not so much for the guy who actually got paralyzed. Though.
Yeah. But he is on Fear the Walking Dead. So
The other guy who got paralyzed, I got paralyzed. They can't even get my name right.
All right, so we're up to Scream 4 now, right?
yes.
Before Dan and I
By the way-
dig ourselves a bigger hole.
Yeah,
I love this.
and this
movie.
poster of I don't remember as much as I do this one when it was. That's the teaser, I think, for the theaters. And then, of course, this was the home video, which there's the floating head thing again. Yeah.
All right.
I thought I was the only one who liked this movie for the longest
No,
time.
it's
Amanda and I went to
fabulous.
No,
the
this is
theaters,
great.
but it didn't seem to raise the roof in the box office.
No,
It was,
Mm-mm.
it was a failure.
which was sad because, yeah, I liked it. Did I think it blew anything away, brought anything new to the series? Not really, but I liked it.
It's weird that it didn't do well because 11 years later, and I will say, I mean, to this day, I see little kids in the ghost face mask at Halloween. So I don't know why in particular. I know Hayden Panettiere was pretty big star at that point. It's better than 3. I still don't like it very much, but it's better than 3 for sure. I don't know why they didn't embrace this one. I actually thought it was going to make a ton of money, to be honest, and I was kind of surprised that it underperformed. Yes, I know Wendell, and he's great too. And now I feel really shitty, but yeah.
Hello, Twisty. Thanks for coming by.
Thank
First
you for
time in the
straightening
chat.
us out
Welcome.
there.
There you go. Yes.
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed Scream 4 because it came out in the theaters in 2011, and it came out like early-ish 2011. I think it was April or something like that, sometime in the spring. And at that point in my life, I was like super busy with everything, and I was also really broke. Like I was still training in wrestling a little bit, but I was also working over at Tivana. And then like I found out, like it was at the end of April, my apartment complex at the time basically told all the tenants, hey, you had 30 days to get, or not, no, it wasn't even 30 days. It was like 2 weeks. They booted us out because fucking like San Antonio Housing Association was like, yeah, the foundation in your entire apartment complex is bad and we're shutting it down. And I'm like, well, fuck me, where do I go? Give me fucking 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I had to move. I moved in with a friend who had an extra bedroom, but that's fine. But I was like, yeah, I was too busy to even pay attention to this. And then I saw it on demand like back in 2015, and I was like, this is a really good movie. I'm so mad at myself that I didn't actually try and get around to seeing it.
I've got one quick comment about, well, 2 quick comments about Scream 4. 1, I love the movie. 2, I love you, Beth Cooper.
We need to blow that up on the big screen. Oh no!
They won't let us notice this same shit again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna pretend that I saw the Beth Cooper movie.
I'm not.
Why do I always get that confused with forgetting Sarah Marshall? Was the I Love You, Beth Cooper? Was that also Kristen Bell?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's about all I can tell you about it, though.
Also, 6 bimbos, half a dozen bimbos, a dozen boobs are killed in the just in the opening scene of Scream 4. That's really impressive. Half a dozen bimbos.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
And Gil's face melting.
So, like, after, I watched Scream 5 last month. I rewatched Scream 4 today. I'm kind of looking back on it and going, okay, because there are some people out there that are just, like, wild about Scream 5. And I need them to explain to me why. Because I don't know what it is that they think Scream 5 is doing that Scream 4 didn't already do a better job at.
I did feel a little bit of that, too, because, again, that's why I said I was surprised anybody else liked the movie the way the reaction at the time for Scream 4. And it did, you're kind of right. It did do a lot of the same stuff with this new one that they had already done 10 years ago.
It's definitely a Scream movie. I thought a lot of people that didn't embrace Scream 5, being that the kills were kind of upped, it was a more gory film, I thought that would be reason that everybody was going to love Scream 5. I was kind of surprised. I mean, with, Texas Chainsaw Massacre now, I didn't love it, but I knew it was going to be really popular just because the gore.
Yeah, and I'm gonna I have to really hard agree with Levi here. Scream 4 does a lot of stuff that's current now. That's it's more timely now, and it makes perfect sense. Like
yeah, you knew it existed back then, but not everybody was doing it 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, sure, we tried doing something similar with Halloween Resurrection, but that movie has problems besides the tech in it. But yeah, I mean, we all live online right now, and Emma Roberts is such a good psychopath, and as Jill, she's she basically pins down 2022 millennials, or whatever they're calling them now, Gen Z. I guess that's the one after millennials. I think they keep moving things.
Wasn't she playing herself in that movie?
It feels like it. Where it's like she says, "I don't need friends, I need fans," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, you hit the nail on the head." And I feel like Scream 5 is trying to do that, but Scream 5 feels flat and disposable, like a lot of horror movies, a lot of requels. Scream 4 is actually trying to say some things, and it kind of does get it right in parts. It does a lot of shitting on horror movies at the time, especially remakes. Like when Kirby's answering the killer's questions, and one of them is, what remake? And she just names all of the remakes. And I'm like, oh my God, we have so many of them. And they were all from, not that long ago. Kind of like with all in the same span of, 10 years or so. That might be a little bit too broad. But yeah,
No,
and it's like
I think that's about right.
they even say Shriekwell and Screammake. And at the end, and it's sort of like they're making a movie. They're just live streaming their own stab movie, and I'm like, okay, well, is it the most original thing? Not really. Is it fun and different from what we had before? A little bit. Do I like Emma Roberts being a psycho? Very much. And then it's just sort of like there's a reason for them for the killings, right? Scream 5, it's just like, oh, we're toxic fans. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
But it was very Scream. Like, I get what you're saying, but it just, I don't know, it kind of made sense. I wasn't overly harsh on Scream 5 because I'm like, all right, we're fourth sequel now. It's, I don't know.
There's a knife going through a hand in Scream 4 and Scream 5. Just what? Yeah. It's just like, I'd rather go watch Scream 4 because it's more entertaining, and it's I'm just trying to figure out what it is. What is it that Scream 5 does better?
If I saw 4 more recently, I could probably have a better answer for you. But yeah, I would say I think I'm surprised you don't like both, though, based on my memory.
Yeah, me too. Because I was just gonna say I definitely can't say Scream 5 does anything better.
It's
but
better
it
shot.
Didn't do anything worse.
It's a better shot than
It brought me another Scream.
anything in the series.
Yeah.
But it's dumber than shit.
Yeah.
And it's the same formula. Except now we're so long in the tooth that characters have to make incredibly bad decisions to make the story happen at all. So it's like the credulousness of it is completely gone now. It's just I want the movie to happen. If I'm a fan, so I'll look the other way about all this shit that has to conveniently happen or happen because these characters do exactly the opposite of what any sort of self-preservation would dictate they do. I mean, this Scream 5 is a film where a character literally says, I'd have to be an idiot to go back to that town, and shows up in the next scene. So, I mean, I don't know. Plot conveniences all over the place, exposition to try and cover up plot holes. It's a nightmarishly badly written film that was made by some very talented people, which is the real shame of it. Radio Silence as a collective are a better filmmaker than Wes Craven. That just point blank, that's true.
Where's the remove button? Okay, kill him.
No, seriously, do you
vote him off the island?
Wes has his bad movies. I mean, you go down that IMDb.
Wes has more bad movies than good movies.
No, I don't know if I'd say that completely, but I will agree he does have his bad movies. But what director, what filmmaker doesn't have?
So, do you think anything? If we're just being fair and not letting nostalgia color this, what did Wes Craven make that is honestly better than Ready or Not?
Well, Nightmare on Elm Street and Last House on the Left are, I would say, great films, but you've got Chiller, you've got Cursed, you've got My Soul to Take, you've got, there's a lot of Hills Have Eyes too. He made a lot of crap.
Serpent in the Rainbow. I like People Under the Stairs. I like.
Yeah.
Okay, you can like the movies. It doesn't mean they're particularly great films. Ready or Not is legitimately all film is, but Ready or Not is legitimately a great film from any technical standpoint, and also from a fan or a viewer standpoint. It is absolutely successful at what it wants to do.
Mm.
I like the original Nightmare on Elm Street quite a lot. Maybe not as much as everyone else on this panel, but I still consider it a great film. And for Wes Craven, it's top tier. I love Last House on the Left for the grittiness and the ugliness and the weird humor, which everyone else hates. But it gets to be a struggle after that. The original Hills of Eyes, I love it a lot, but it hasn't aged well, if we're being honest. And Serpent and the Rainbow is another one. I love it a lot. It has not aged well.
Much better remake on Hills too, if people are being honest.
The Aja
that's
way
correct.
better.
Yeah,
Hills 2 was off. The original.
It was
It's hard to get through.
So he made a lot of bad movies. It's weird. Like Stuart Gordon doesn't get the credit he deserves, who had some fantastic movies at the end of his career. Cronenberg, of course, who I think never dropped the ball.
Never.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like the highs were high, but there were a lot of lows that people forget about with Craven.
I've got it, Lauren. Better film than Ready or Not. Dracula 2000.
Oh fuck.
Well, he produced that one, so
Okay,
Yeah.
kill him.
I think if we're really gonna, if we really want to talk about the ratio, like, God love him. I know. I mean, objectively, Patrick Lucier's films are not great, but I still enjoy most of them. It's just I feel like his strength is probably more as an editor. And I know I feel shitty for saying that. It's,
No,
just,
don't, because I think you're right. I think you are right. And
but
Levi again.
oh yeah, a lot of fan service.
But Scream 4 was adding more to the formula.
Speaking of Scream 4, though, I do have to point out, because I saw Darren mention about wanting to thinking about rewatching it. It is available on Amazon. If you're a Prime member, it's like $1.99 to rent, and it's like 50% off right now if you buy it digitally. So it's like, yeah, I bought it for $4.99 because I know I'm gonna go back and watch it again at some point. So not a bad deal if you're an Amazon Prime member. Also, we need to talk about the defibrillator in Scream 4. That's how we ended this movie. We really did that.
I'm okay with that. I mean, it was, again, Lauren made Lauren's point earlier, some of these endings could have been better.
It's like,
I will say 5's Revelation of the Killer is worse than any of the others, though.
Yeah, it was obvious. Yeah, from the beginning.
Well, it's obvious and doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's the irony. Is it doesn't work at all, but you knew what they were doing the whole time.
Yeah, Amanda did call basically both killers early on in the movie when we were watching it today.
I had no idea, but I also didn't care. So it's by the time the third act starts, I'm like, all right. It was just like, honestly, on movies, it's just like it's doing nothing for me. But I don't know if we're at Scream 5 territory.
We need to get to Scream 5. I just a couple things, I guess, on Scream 4 real quick. I love Judy, which, of course, she comes back in Scream 5.
We're not going to talk about Judy. We're not going to talk about her at all.
I knew there was going to be people who just hated her and didn't want to talk about it.
Oh, no, that was a Fire Walk With Me reference.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm horrible with Twin Peaks.
Bowie.
Did anybody else think by like Scream 4 that one of the main three should have died in that? They should have started.
Yeah, they never had any stakes. I mean, like everybody just kept surviving. I mean, honestly, I don't want any of the original characters back again. That's so lame now. They might as well have taken out Courtney Cox at least. I mean,
I think so. And I would have liked seeing Kirby back in this next one, but they didn't do that either.
I love Kirby, and it would be nice to see that character back, but I don't think it works after seeing her get stabbed in the gut in Scream 4.
Twice.
Yeah.
So you think she's gone? You think she's dead?
Well, they've already established that she's alive, according to some Easter egg in Scream 5. So I'm like, all right.
I think I've seen that same video.
I missed it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, about surviving Woodsboro. Yeah.
What? I guess shall we get on then, since we keep talking about it. 5 cream.
If we stay on Scream 4, I'm going to keep professing my love for Beth Cooper. So
5 cream.
This movie can get absolutely royally fucked. And now look, and no offense to anybody here,
I'm
but
offended.
what the absolute flying fuck was any of that bullshit?
fun.
I would
Pure fun.
rather take a giant steaming dump and then go look at it for 2 hours than watch this movie again. It would be more interesting. It would have more character development. The twists and the turns you'd never see coming. Fuck.
Lauren's working on his next art project.
I hope it's not that.
Again. No, I don't want to hear fan service, but I want to hear actual reasons why this is a solid movie, because I can't find them. And I have problems with the ending, but I know we'll have that discussion when we get to it. Because I thought about it earlier and it just actually pissed me off more, so. She looks like
I don't know if I have reasons to give you, but I did like it.
Courtney
And
Cox's
her face started doing that in part 4.
No, but it looks like bad DNR permanently. Like they've digitally removed the noise from her face. Like on that early Predator Blu-ray.
I thought you were talking about a bad Do Not Resuscitate.
2022 first female Phantom of the Opera. That's what I was thinking.
It has like that vacillated look to it. That I think she's hiding the lizard people makeup too well.
Oh boy.
I thought it had some.
I agree, but poor Courtney.
Well, I thought her face had some definite, like, Drop Dead Fred the stretched out face. It was like that, and some Willem Dafoe.
And maybe a little bit of like Beetlejuice Waiting Room.
Ooh, okay. I could see. But I mean, I'm sorry, I will not interrupt.
No, you and Levi you're on the same page again, it looks like.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought she looked. Jesus.
That Peter Cushing
One of my favorite comments in the
this
chat.
digital form.
No, but I really do want to hear what it is specifically about this movie. Because I can't.
People made up their mind they were going to love it before they stepped foot in the theater.
Yeah.
Not true.
It met my expectations.
He wants to start it up.
I mean, it met my expectations. It's not a great movie. I did have more fun than the last two, though. I mean, it's not great. I thought the new characters were interesting enough that you didn't need to keep going back to the old legacy characters over and over. But I'm fully convinced Neve Campbell's going to be back in 6. Because I think they figure they need that for the box office. I haven't heard anything. I haven't really paid attention to the news, so I don't know. Just roll with them now and try and just do something different. I don't know how you reinvent this franchise, but try and do something different, because I'm just nothing dies anymore. And I think Scream, like, it's a good time to just let that rest. I don't know what else you do, but I don't have.
Have we been saying that about all our franchises we love lately?
Pretty much.
Probably, yeah. I'm not clamoring for anything to come back as far as franchises.
There's not a lot.
I'll be disappointed by mid next month.
Yeah.
What?
I mean,
What'd you say?
We'll talk off there.
Hellraiser is something I'm curious if it's a direct adaptation of the novel. So, I have a little bit of excitement for that, but there's not a whole lot that I can make a good case for continuing now off the top of my head. Even Friday the 13th, I mean, okay, maybe, but Halloween, I don't care. Like, I don't care if I never get another one after.
Yeah, Halloween already ended for me. So.
Yeah,
Next film is Halloween post.
The next one will probably be better than Kills, but I don't care anymore.
I was just gonna say, you say that now, Dan, until this fall when you're talking about Halloween ends for them for a month.
Oh, I won't be though. I honestly will not give that fucking movie the air. No way.
You won't even give it an autopsy just to finish off your series?
Jesus, man. People are bothering me about the fucking
I got you.
Chainsaw Massacre 2022 autopsy. That
What is? How do you do it on that?
I was one of those.
No, you were only one of a few. I don't know. I don't know. I have to scramble my brain around.
Because I know you'll find a way.
It's just a
You'll
list
find
of
a way, Lauren.
gas doesn't work like that. Deets don't work like that. None of this works like that. That's all Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 is.
Yeah,
but no matter what he writes or he speaks on those, I'm gonna be, whether I agree or not, just tuned in to what you're saying. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Give us
I'm
more.
Terrified about how I'm supposed to go
give
about
us the fans.
So, Dan, I have a question. What is it that you liked about the characters in Scream 5?
They didn't annoy me. That might not be a big compliment, but a lot of modern slasher characters in particular just annoy the shit out of me. I thought the sister, and I'm sorry, I can't think of the actress's name. I thought she was really good. I could follow her at the very least. I was really hopeful for this with the directors. I really thought that we would set up something completely new and different, and we didn't really do that, but maybe at least in 6 they'll make the right decision and no more going back to Nev Campbell again. I do think they will for some reason, but
she's gotta be. I mean, if nothing else, kill the rest of them off for a 6th movie.
They were probably
kill her in
just
the teaser, the opening teaser.
Yeah. Well, no, just let it be now. Let her go be a mom. That's it. That's her end. I don't even want that.
She must die.
Kill the kids.
Yeah, they lost their. I don't think it matters though now. I don't think it has any impact. You might get Scream ends. I don't know, but or they'll kill her and then it'll get a reboot. No,
Sydney dies tonight.
That's what'll happen. They will kill her, but then she'll be back in a reboot.
It'll be a dream sequence.
Yeah.
And we're all gonna see it, except maybe Lauren.
I will never buy another ticket for one of these movies. It will not happen.
You say that, but did you buy a ticket for this one?
Well, I have the Regal Pass, so I don't actually pay for movies. But I won't even go next time. There's no chance of it. I'm done. I mean, I've watched the same movie 5 times now. I'm done.
Yeah, I can never make
kind of an idiot.
We'll meet up in Philadelphia for the 6th one. It'll be fun.
I'm a moron already for going this many times. So, no, I will not be doing another one. I won't be doing another Halloween. I mean, I'm sure at some point I'll stumble across 5 minutes of it on YouTube, and that'll be enough. But the stuff I've been burned with so many times. It's time for me to walk the walk. I'm wearing a Saint Maud shirt, man, for a reason. I'm going to support the shit that means something, that goes somewhere, that does something. It doesn't have to be like elevated horror or A24 stuff at all.
No.
It could be it could be knuckle dragging dumb. Absolutely, as long as I feel like I have not seen it before 5 fucking times.
I need a Moonfall shirt.
Or create a new slasher icon.
Sure.
Like, as much as I love the franchise, the movies.
That's what
bring
Victor
us something
Crowley
new.
was.
I think there's room for both.
Victor Crowley, you could argue, did become a slasher icon for a lot of people, but recently, I just give me an original slasher film. It's not that hard to come up with.
Leslie Vernon.
Well, that's been a while. That was 2006.
I'm almost 42. My timelines are running together here, bud.
Yeah, I don't know. There hasn't. I mean, we had Hellfest, yes, and I don't know why that wasn't embraced because that
is a great movie.
Same month. That's why.
Oh. My phone's going off.
Wow, I was dancing for a second.
I don't understand why that wasn't embraced more, because everybody I know at least really likes, if not loves, that movie. So I don't know. Fall in love with something new. I don't know why people can't fall in love with something new anymore.
I did try to fall in love with something new today, and it was horrible. I know you just did a recent showing of your DVD collection, and you had Dr. Carver in there. If you haven't watched it yet, it's not very good. So,
but at least they tried. But yeah, no, that's skip Dr. Carver.
Commenting on that, Darren. Yes and no. I'm a fanboy, but I can't say I love all of these bringbacks. You know, Halloween's. I can't say I love them as much as the original timeline, and I think there's my reasoning, Sam, and everybody, for liking this new Scream. My biggest worry is they weren't calling it Scream 5. They were really trying to go the route of Halloween 2018, Texas Chainsaw 2022. My hope was that title was they were kind of making fun of it or being self-referential like the Scream series is, and that's exactly what they did.
I missed that influence. So are there like specific parts of the movie that that you would say are making fun of the franchise? Because I don't feel like it was as like shitting on horror in general as Scream 4 was.
Well, no, they're making fun of the reboots of the Halloween 2018, where the franchises have gone, not Scream itself, but that we're calling it the same title as the original movie, but it's a sequel.
But the problem with that is, besides the fact that there's numerals on 2, 3, and 4, they all are requels of the first film. Like they're all that.
Yeah,
they're all the same movie. So it's like, to me, there was no mileage to really wring out of it. I was really bored with this movie and annoyed with it, and it's not the worst of its serious problem. But my ranking of the film is like playing a game of Banco or something. You just roll in a bunch of die, however they come out, because they're all the same movie. They're really not different enough for me to even pick sides on it. They're just boring teen slashers.
I mean, there was some tongue-in-cheek stuff with elevated horror. You know, that was the running joke through Scream 5, but that doesn't work because those are good movies.
And not to mention, make Babadook references, and then they don't try and create any secondary text inside the movie to actually reflect that, which is what you would do if you were trying to actually make a statement about it.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what does the Babadook got to do with this? I mean, are we just throwing out that reference because we like the Babadook? I like it too, but it doesn't really fit at all.
We have to be topical, so we have to show that we know what's going on in horror.
The Babadook is not a new movie.
No, but that's the other problem is what big Hereditary would be, I guess, the reference they should have made. But
is there a Hereditary or a Midsummer reference that I'm thinking of that was in Scream 5?
I don't think so.
Recall one, no.
Okay. My imagination.
Levi, you're open.
That definitely happened, Levi. and then she delivered lines with so much passion, like, "Oh, click." It was like having steak sauce in your lead.
You know what? Steak sauce, better Sidney Prescott.
I agree.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hotter at this point too.
Oh yeah. There it is. So
we got to see him with bangs now.
Oh man.
Sidney Prescott bangs are fine. Gale Weathers bangs, I don't trust that shit.
Gale Weathers, would you like a snack? They had them on sale at the Walmart.
There's a
Okay.
T-shirt for you.
The beef flavored. Yeah,
next-
stand up. Stand up.
You have Gail call Sydney the C word. It'll be awesome. It just
Then the next animal that we get will be named Gale Weathers.
Gail Weathers, and you can never shorten that. It has to always.
Yeah, no, it's all one
Weathers.
word. It's Gale Weathers.
Gail Weathers.
I can tell you that my wife and I went and seen Scream 5 in the theaters, and I think we went on like a Sunday afternoon, and we were the only two in the theater.
Mhm.
There was absolutely nobody else there. It's the first time I've ever had that happen. So it was actually kind of nice because I didn't have to worry about stupid little kids in front of me and parents bringing their 6-month-old babies into the theater. That's always fun. Trying to think, we went and seen Halloween Kills, and there was an entire row in front of us, an entire family, and there was 6, 7, 8-year-old kids and a 6-month-old baby with them. So
Sounds like my
this was a much nicer experience because we were the only ones in there, but the movie's fun. It's just there's sometimes it's just nice to turn your brain off and just enjoy the movie for what it is.
Fun.
Stupid fun. I will say that I think what they did better in 5 than what they did in 3. 3. The
That's my case, Your Honor.
Damn it.
the glove moment.
In 3, to be fair, okay, I've been having this happen a lot lately. So, but in 3, the dream or the sequences with Sydney's mom or whatever, some of them were dreams, some of them were happening in real time or whatever. They did it differently in 5. It wasn't a dream sequence. She takes medication for some sort of psychotic thing or whatever she has. So she was
antidepressants because she signed on to this movie.
Oh God.
But the way they did it in 5 was better than the way they did it in 3. So it wasn't something that bothered me in 5. In 3, it was something that I couldn't buy into.
Okay, so question: what was fun? Like, what did you have fun with? Because I mean, I was bored also. So
well, for starters,
the part I missed.
The fact that I believe it was all the characters were related to the characters from the original or someone from a previous movie. The one teenage boy was related to Judy Hicks, who didn't show up until 4. So
and that was a nice surprise to have her back and have that connection get even.
But everybody else, I believe, was related to the people from the original movie. So you had Stu's nephew, and you had Randy's niece and nephew, and so you kind of had that connection there with the original movie, without having the original characters in there.
Bringing Randy's sister back.
Yeah,
I brought that up earlier. I went yes the moment I saw her.
The sequences with Billy in the backseat of the car, and when he's talking to his daughter, that it was like I said, it wasn't like the way they did it in 3. So it was something different, or it was different enough that I could buy into it, and it was fun to see him back in that movie in that role. So it was just a fun movie. You for the most part, you watch slasher movies not because they're they make you think, but you watch them for the kills and a lot of different things. But it's not so much is this gonna raise my IQ 50 points?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I didn't go in having any expectations of the movie. I was hoping to just basically, the only thing I really expect anymore is to have fun, and I didn't find that. And that was a bummer. And I did like the twins, Randy's niece and nephew. I think one of them should have died, because, they're going to come back in the sequel. It's like, give me some conflict, give me something that they have to work through. But I thought they were fun, but Jenna Ortega's good. What was the gal's name that played Sam? Man, Sam sucks. Like, she was awful. Those fucking dead eyes. Sam needs to learn how to smile with her eyes.
I didn't mind Sam too much.
She's lovely to look at.
I don't need a slasher film to be smart. I'd be like basically starving if I did. There's no looking for enough values. I can only watch Game Over so many times.
There's mood also. It's not just
that's what I was getting to. To me, it's all about mood, atmosphere. It's about feeling like I'm in a really solid time and place, feeling a lot of claustrophobia. Claustrophobia is really important to slasher films. And this thing had none of those things, unfortunately, because I really like the filmmakers. If you go back and watch when I talked about the film coming up, I kept being the guy saying I'm really interested in what these filmmakers will do with this project because I love them and what they've done in the past. I did not go into this expecting the same shit again, and that's what killed me. Is that it was the same shit again, and then third act comes around, and just for consistency's purposes, they had to find the most like idiotic resolution to who the killers are and how that would have worked. It's absolutely more insulting than any of the previous films as far as the revelation of the killers. So,
well, I will say that it seemed to me that the ending to 5 was more of a carbon copy of the ending of 4.
Yeah.
But and I don't think they did it as well. But I mean, the overall movie, I had fun with it. It was just stupid fun.
I
agree.
Previous films did not suggest that a 5'2" girl can get wearing a bulletproof vest. I'm assuming can get shot point blank 3 times in the chest and still overpower a 200-pound man in a hallway.
It's the Debbie Salt effect.
It's movie physics, guys. Come on, I thought we passed that.
Hey, if Rey Mysterio can beat Kevin Nash, then a 5'2" girl can.
I don't think he ever did without help.
Hey, a win's a win.
I'm having
sorry, Lauren.
See, your mouths are moving in words, but they don't mean anything.
I think there was a run-in. I'll make it more confusing.
So, I just
sorry,
like,
Lord.
I just feel like there should be a baseline in our acceptance of these things. Like Mrs. Voorhees not being developed as a real on-screen character, and showing up at the end. Yeah, it's a bit of a cop-out, but it works enough because it's so well done. This is actually like ridiculous. Like if you think about this for more than a second, this doesn't work. So no, it's stupid.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just I just wish they wouldn't insult their fans. Not that I'm a fan, but
yeah.
That's okay. I don't think they did. Go on, Sam.
I need some refreshing on the end of Scream 5. What exactly was their motivation? Because from what I was able to garner from some YouTube clips, it's like, and remembering, seeing it in the theater, they're unhappy that the stab movies have become so diluted. So they want to make sure that the next stab movie is like the first one. Is that
like Halloween 2018 is what they want to make it like.
Did they say Halloween 2018?
No, but it's basically that's what I took out of it, is that they're kind of being self-referential of the age of horror.
Yeah. Okay, but
it was less the Babadook is what this movie was trying to reference as far as the time, and more of movies like Halloween Kills 2018.
What did the killers want to do? That's the part that I don't understand.
Well, they're just psycho. They just wanted to kill. I mean, you had the boyfriend, he was the obsessive movie fan, and then You're right. I don't know if I really remember. And I just watched it. What the girl's true motivation, other than being psycho, was.
I mean, I remember them being super fans. They were not happy with the Stab franchise, right?
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
remember.
you had it. I think that's basically was their main motivation.
Like, are they trying to? And it seems like, from what I can gather, they're trying to inspire a new set of true life events to like reboot.
So they'll make a Stab movie that reboots. Yeah,
to reboot or to kickstart the Stab franchise. Okay, so that's what I'm understanding. Now, I have a question again. Were they framing somebody for this? I don't remember. Wait, they were framing Sam. That's right.
Yeah,
because she's the daughter of Billy Loomis.
She was going to be the villain if their plan worked out.
Okay, so yeah, essentially we're doing the end of Scream 4, but in Scream 4, it's sort of like, okay, Jill over here is a loony, and yeah, we understand what her motivations are, and it works because initially the reports at the end are that she was the sole survivor, which did Scream 4 also predict fake news? I guess so. But it's like there was a motivation there. I don't really feel a motivation here. And so let's just keep going with this idea. So their plan works. They frame Sam for it, and they, and this kickstarts / reboots the Stab franchise. Probably kickstarts, right? Because, it's essentially going to be like in the Stabiverse, it's going to be like a Stab requel, which, God, that's making me want to throw myself off the roof. But, if these fans are truly toxic, why would they want to give money to the studio that's making their rebooted / kickstarted Stab movie? Wouldn't you be pissed off by them and be tired of giving them money? Now, look, I know that I am not the best example of this, considering I still give fucking studios my money and I don't have any self-control. I'm trying to figure this out logically according to the movie story.
The solution is you and Lauren need to go after Danny McBride and David Gordon Green. That's how this has to happen. You got to right the ship.
Well, I know that this is not the horror pitch rumble, but I was thinking, man, horror influencer mockumentary. Oh man, I'd have some fun with that. No, but I mean, that's a real question. Like, are these hardcore fans really going to be like, oh, finally, I only had to like murder over a dozen people and develop this strangely convoluted plot, but I got my movie. Is that what the studios think of us? Also, why am I going to give my money to...
I was waiting.
Hey, I forget these things fast now. Like even Scream 5, which I was kind to. I mean, I didn't love the movie, but I was kind to it.
You were so nice, Dan.
I was. I gave that a halfway decent rating.
You did, okay.
For Scream, yeah, But I do forget them. They're just like gone in like 2 weeks, and maybe that's just watching as many horror movies as I do. But something like The Wasteland, which is my favorite so far this year, that's still all right up there.
Keep that comment up.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt Dan, but I did. But I want
okay.
to respond to it. Yeah, the inhaler plot is absolutely idiotic. There's so many things that have to happen for that to work in the least, and all of them are out of the killer's control. It is just the dumbest plot device. Oh my god! But you're right.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Matrix 4 is probably the worst theatrical experience of my life. It dethroned both Battlefield Earth and Monkey Bone as the worst theatrical. Matrix 4 is the bottom of the barrel.
I can tell. The two before that were almost
didn't make those are sense. Great now compared to 4.
Jess, you have no idea. This is like not even a real movie. It's honestly, it's unbelievably bad. Like
I've heard enough. I don't need to see it ever.
Not even like so bad it's good. Like like Tommy the room guy.
Yeah.
could have
What's
made a
that?
better film than this with a camcorder, 50 cents in a Walmart parking lot.
Can we get him to
Wow.
do a horror film?
Wow.
Hmm.
Well, I won't touch it. I don't even need to see it to
Don't.
prove myself. So
It's-
I'll believe you guys.
I know
There's no reason.
I know somebody who saw it at a test screening and said the final product was just as bad. Matrix 4, I don't even understand. I guess Lana participated just because they were going to make it with or without her, sort of deal. I don't know the whole story, but that was embarrassing. That was. I'm not going to say as bad as Halloween Kills, but it's damn close for me.
Oh, well, come on. It can't be that.
It's worse than Halloween Kills.
It's got to be worse than Halloween Kills.
I would rather watch
Yeah.
Halloween Kills.
Halloween
Matrix.
Kills is a shit film, but Matrix 4 is not even a movie. So there are. Okay, so when you see a Matrix film, the bare minimum you're expecting is for Keanu Reeves to fight people, right?
Yeah, it didn't have that.
That
Everybody's
does not happen in the movie.
yeah.
Really?
He pushes people with super like Jedi powers,
But he
like,
doesn't do the
actual
whole
fight scenes,
No.
and they do all the Steven Seagal editing for the fights.
Yeah.
It's and there's transformer birds that help the good guys. You
That
think
was
I'm making this shit up? I'm
Oh.
not. It's in the book.
It almost sounds like it, but I believe you.
they're like Pokemon and Transformers.
Oh my god.
And
Well,
I mean,
the most hilarious part of Matrix 4, I'm sorry, Sam, is that Christina Ricci shows up, makes the movie looks like a real movie for about 3 minutes, and then leaves and takes all the value with her.
I know. Thank you. I know. I was like so happy. It's like, oh, surprise Christina Ricci cameo. No, come back.
No, come back. You don't have to do anything. You can sit at a desk. It's fine.
Yeah, can you just be in the background so I have something to look at?
Yeah.
Just anything. It was not. I mean, you see the Merovingian show up, but it's like
No one knows who he is.
I know. I'm like, well, where's Persephone? Wanna come loot-
And he shows up and then talks in a weird soliloquy that was clearly ad-libbed over a fight scene that's not choreographed. It's just shit all over.
Well, I mean, in that respect, if you're kind of like pulling back and looking at it, Matrix Resurrections is like the perfect example of what we're getting out of requels. They're just like disposable carbon copies that are not worth our time. And I mean, it's to the point where it's like, even who's the guy that Barney from How I Met Your Mother plays? What is his actual title? I forget. But he's basically just a different version of the architect. And Sadi from Matrix Revolutions, she's the new Oracle. None of it matters. And like, we only get a hint that the real world is just the second layer of the Matrix, and it's never really expounded upon. When it's like, I've been here since Matrix Reloaded. I'm like, fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that though.
Can I point out that Sam just referred to Neil Patrick Harris as the guy who played Barney from How
Thank
I
you.
Met Your Mother instead of
Thank you.
Doogie Howser?
I know he played Doogie Howser also. I just can't remember his name. I always call him Barney in my head, and I'm like, you won't even like that show.
Do we agree that Matrix has to be dead now?
It's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't.
It's not coming back.
I can't see it and them ever touching that again.
I mean, I shouldn't have a real opinion on it because I haven't seen it, but I've heard enough from you guys. Like the switch of actors that made no sense. Did they even approach Lawrence? Fishburne?
I think he said no, which
Because he's a smart man.
I thought he was like, well, they didn't even call me, basically.
maybe I
They
don't.
would have to offer him and be like, he'll probably kick our asses if we show up with this.
I mean, just like, if you want to see it, like, see it out of curiosity. But I mean,
No, I don't want to waste my breath. You guys,
Well, I refresh yourself.
you've all told me enough.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I would refresh yourself by watching the original Matrix trilogy, because that's what I did, and I was like, man, you know what? I wasn't really old enough to appreciate these movies when I first saw them, so it was nice to go back and revisit. And also, it's like I had better measuring tape for Matrix Resurrections. But you know, again, yeah,
NPH would never do that, Sam.
And you get all 3 of the original Matrix films in that Walmart dump bin for like $5 in that
Forget
pack.
it. I liked the first movie just fine,
Right.
but anything after it, I thought has been crap.
Jess, you will not believe the drop off in quality from that third film to this. And I know you're
It's
thinking
gotta be so awful.
you're thinking that's like impossible because you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
I do.
so
I
bad.
really do.
But it is
Revelation.
so much worse.
2 and 3 have the action scenes, and that's what
2
like
does barely, but I mean 3 is just so it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's boring in a lot of places. Just toss it in a sack.
I love the dialogue in Matrix Reloaded, especially from the Merovingian going on is very philosophical. So having his philosophical soliloquies, and I don't care how pretentious that makes me sound. I was like eating that up, like nom nom. Give me more of this, because it was making me think at least. Ooh,
I've been pretty quiet on this whole thing, and there's a good reason for that. I am in the vast minority. I hate the fucking Matrix. Anything. They could have just never made those movies. I would have been perfectly happy.
He's drawing again, Kory.
I'm sure he is.
I'm more of a dark
time.
I'm more of a Dark City guy, honestly. Dark City
Yes.
is way better than the Matrix, and I
God,
love
wanna
the
watch Dark
first
City
Matrix.
now.
The first Matrix is just fine and definitely
I had
a fun movie, a good movie.
I had a friend of mine that once compared the Matrix to basically they said that it was a really bad remake of the Terminator movies. So
I saw
I
more
ended
the
up-
13th floor and
Yeah.
I ended up seeing the first 3 Matrix movies because I lost a bet. I would rather super glue my dick to a bullet train than to ever watch those movies again.
That'll be the next bet.
So, but here's the thing, and
So I learned my lesson on betting on when it comes to the Matrix movies is a punishment.
Sam will stick with me. If you want to see a good remake of the Terminator lore, Moonfall.
I love that movie so much.
You know what? I'll check it out. Okay, I checked out the movie Mandy based on a couple of your guys's, just a couple of guys's comments on it, and that movie sucks except for like the last half hour. Then I checked out Malignant, and that movie is fucking awesome. So
it's very fun.
I will. What was it? Moonfall.
Corey,
I wrote it down.
When you were real young, and like one kid would have seen an R-rated movie on, and it would tell every other kid in the class, like, but he'd be like, and then this happens, and that happens, and this happens, and that happens, right? And they're not really filling in the gaps, but you're like, I need to see that movie. Moonfall is that, but you have the whole class having seen the film and screaming at each other everything they remember all at once. It is an insane experience. It is kind of amazing.
Kory,
I will check it out.
This is actual dialogue in the movie. You're part of the moon now.
Awesome.
They talk about the moon's operating system. Moon terror figures prominently.
I'm in.
It's
all right.
Amazing.
I will give it a shot.
It is so batshit insane. It's like, but it also reminds you what cinemas should be, the ambitions of cinema should have, rather than like Scream repeating the same thing 5 times. Like there's a lot of things you could say Moonfall reminds you of, but never hyperkinetically all thrown together in the same basket at the same time and then pushed and compressed into this 2 hour and 40-minute like intercontinental ballistic missile of a war film. It's amazing.
It's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
No, it's 2 hours. It's right at 2 hours. They
Okay.
2 hours and 4 minutes. I would have noticed that extra 40.
Hi, Griffin, by the way. Thanks for coming.
I know we segued into the Matrix, but another one I will throw out there just to close that nobody really saw, and that's World on a Wire, which is a German film from 1973. It was an adaptation of the Simulacron 3 novel. Nobody's seen that movie. That's another one to check out if you want to watch sort of that Matrix.
Saw Man on a Wire.
There you
Dan,
go.
what-
Well,
Dan, what was the name of the book?
Simulcron 3, I believe it was, if my memory serves. But Criterion put out the Blu-ray. It's actually what I'm trying to see if it's still in print. It might not be because I think that's an older Blu-ray. But it's another one to check out. Like 13th Floor is almost completely forgotten, and I saw that in the theater too.
I like that one.
That was a blind
Yeah.
buy for me years ago, and I just happened to sit down and watch it one night and absolutely loved it, and then lost it in the move, and then found another copy, and then my VCR broke. So I've got to find it on DVD.
Yeah, you had Matrix, Existence, 13th Floor, and Dark City, which I think is the Titan. Dark City's amazing. And I would also tell people, go watch Metropolis if you've never actually sat down to watch Metropolis, which surprisingly a lot of people haven't. I mean, it's that movie is so amazing.
Are you talking about the original?
Like, wasn't that 1920s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've never watched that, check it out. Everybody should see Metropolis at least once. But
I have it.
World on a Wire is a more obscure one to throw out there, since if you're into the Matrix.
Oddly enough, isn't there a version of Metropolis that has a Marco Beltrami score added to it? I think there is.
Yeah.
See, it all comes together.
It does.
Yeah, watch the original, then the modern version that they put out in, I don't know what, the late 80s or something like that, the MTV version.
I'm just thinking about the anime version.
Hmm.
I don't even know if I've seen that all the way through. So, yeah, Dark City is awesome. Love that movie.
I got two more questions for you guys. One is Scream related, so I'll ask the one that's not Scream related first. Is it just me, or you guys had brought up the Babadook? Is it just me, or did they rip the look of the Babadook off from London After Midnight?
I don't know, because I'm familiar with that.
Definitely a resemblance for sure. I don't know if I recall them saying directly that that's what inspired it, though.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's very close.
Yeah.
My God.
Kind of has to be now that I look at it.
Oh, my God.
I think it's that same figure of like dark masculinity, that the fedora. It's the same thing that Freddy is kind of based on, is that creepy, dirty man down the street kind of archetype.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably could find a lot of examples of it. You got to remember, London After Midnight, that's a cop in a disguise pretending to be a vampire. Not that any of us have seen the film, because it's obviously gone, but you can see the remake of it, which is pretty apparently.
Somebody pieced together stills.
It's still hard to watch because it's still. Although I'm not sure that it truly is truly lost in some regards, because there was television broadcasts as late as the late 60s. And by that time, some home video recording equipment was on the market. It just was not in like consumers' hands at the price level that normal American families would have had. So I feel like somewhere there's some degraded magnetic recording.
That'd be nice to get your hands on.
Oh, you'd make a lot of people really happy. That's for sure.
I'm very intrigued.
All right. My Scream question for you guys is, if the killers in all the Scream movies up to 5, if they've done all this research on the movies themselves, wouldn't they have also done the research on all the people who had tried to kill Sidney?
That's a good point.
And understand that they all died?
I'm sure.
But they're always going to think somebody can accomplish it. Finally, they're going to be the ultimate one.
Well, this comes down to like when Angela Lansbury shows up in your town. She solved like 900 cold cases. So, let's be honest. How hard can it be? She never has like security or anything.
That's
Long
just
range
gonna,
rifle, you Oswald her, take her off the playing field. You're going to get away with your crime.
that's literally just Scream until until Nev Campbell's in the ground. She's just gonna keep being that character. Old lady. Oh, can you guys? Give it 25, 20. Well, at this point, 15 more years, and then we can pull like a Halloween 2018 with the Scream franchise. And we can have like old woman Sydney over here.
Well, there's nothing
But
saying
they'll
that.
just retcon everything after Scream 1.
15 more years.
Honest to God, I see it happening.
Jesus.
Again, I think that was the point of this movie, though, as far as that was.
I'm rooting for the Comet every day more.
Well, I am too, but for different reasons. My final thoughts on the series. You mentioned you can't really rank them because they're all the same, Lauren.
Yeah.
I agree, but on the other end, because I love them all. I love them all. I've had fun with it. You can't top 1 and 2. I think they're equal. Because, like I said, I almost like part 2 sometimes more than the first one. So those are equal. I've enjoyed everyone after it. So if I had to rank them, they just kind of go in order at that point. I know you all hate Scream 3, but Scream 3, 4, and 5 are about equal to me.
I don't
Had a
hate
good
Scream
time.
3.
They're a good time for me.
I mean, I have to say, like, Scream 1 and 2, they are very close together for me, and I have a hard time really kind of, picking one over the other, but I think it's just going to be Scream 1 by a little bit. And it's like 1, 2, 4, 3, 5 for me.
1, 3, 4.
1, 2, 4, 3, 5.
There we go. Thank you.
What she said, yeah. It's tough. I mean, other than 3, I just feel like if you love Scream, you'll probably enjoy most of those. Although not 5 tonight, but yeah. The first one I would put, I guess, up top, and then 2 and 5's pretty close. 4, 3.
Okay, so to determine for myself tonight which is the best, I'm going to use a random generator here. So let's see what it comes up with.
It's gonna be 3.
It came up with 4, so apparently 4 is the winner tonight.
Oh.
So Scream 4 is
I'm very excited about that.
Wait.
Oh, he's gone. I'm sorry.
Son of a-
I have 2 gray ones here as well. She's on a tower right above my head, so.
I have no cats at the moment.
That's weird.
Yeah, all mine are
Aw.
missing too. So,
Oh.
well,
So
Randy's on my couch. Under
decided
my
to
Casablanca.
climb
poster.
down me. I don't. Wait, shit! Come on, focus.
There you
Yeah.
go. Nice.
Yeah, she decided to climb down me, claws and attack him.
Aussie?
So, yeah, from here to here is like one line.
That's happened to
Right.
me once. I scared my cat as a kid, and she jumped, and she just slid straight down my arm and cut it open.
Yep.
Like, really bad.
Been there.
Like that sounds super creepy, man. I couldn't do it. I tried. Had a
Dude, if
mouthful
there
of
was
fun.
an ending I got, and if we get to Scream 9 and that's the ending I get, I am going to love it.
Raro. I can't do voices tonight. I'm sorry.
Well, wait, that creates a Matthew Lillard problem, though.
No such
Oh,
thing as
yes.
a problem with Matthew Lillard.
Well, that's how they'll bring him back.
Oh,
Sydney should have stayed in the movie as that first phone call, and that was it. Again, you might be with Sam on this. I'm one, because I heard you talk about Ghostbusters. I'm one that says give me a little more nostalgia. It doesn't have to be the whole movie, but I'll take it. I want the old characters here and there. I mean, we didn't mention, spoiler alert for Scream 5. It was bittersweet, but it was right that they finally killed one of the main 3. It was about damn time. And
I'm slightly annoyed that, finally Dewey actually got to be somewhat competent in Scream 4, and that felt like progression. Especially, you kind of watch his and Gail's relationship, change over the course of the movies, right? Regardless of what happened off screen, with that couple. But yeah, it was kind of like the roles were reversed a little bit, and you got to see Dewey be more competent. And then in this one, oh no, he was just forced into retirement, and now he's a drunk. And I'm just like,
Yeah, I know.
My biggest regret is that Ghostface didn't kill him with a light tube. That I would have forgiven everything if that happened.
there is so much David Arquette nudity in that fucking documentary that I didn't need to see.
Cindy
I never want to
and
see
Brenda.
David Arquette with a sock on his dick ever again.
I didn't want to see it at all.
Didn't know anything about it.
Well, there you go.
I was living my life just fine without knowing that.
Oh, there's a lot more than that. There's a lot.
I don't know how you feel about the Foo Fighters, but their new movie, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. I haven't seen it yet. It's been
I didn't need to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers do that either. So
No sock though, I guess, but pretty close.
If you're gonna do it. Here's Ben Grimm's order: 1, 2, 5, 4, 3.
Okay. Yeah.
I can kind of go up with Ben on that. That's not a bad ranking in my opinion.
I don't think that's a bad ranking, but I'd flop 4 and 5.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's just fine because it doesn't matter. Yes, man, I agree.
Tonight, Lauren's ranking is 4. That's it.
Oh. There's a funny story. We're getting off topic again, but that seems to be the theme of this show, and that's cool.
I just have Lauren's impression of the old lady like calling Gail Weathers.
Hello.
Yeah, Weathers, you should have told me you needed to go out. I don't need to clean that up, We're out of paper towels. I have to use my hands.
We're canceled. Where's the cancel button again?
Gail Weathers.
Gail Weathers. Jackass Forever, Ben. I haven't seen it yet, but I know in the original cut of Jackass 3D, there was a lot more of Chris's dong because I worked on the promotions for that, and I saw some earlier cuts. And I'd like to say I take some credit for there being less dong in the final cut because after a screening one night, I'm setting up. It's Chris and Wee Man. They have a little green room because they're helping promote it. And I'm setting up, putting drinks in their rim and stuff. And all of a sudden the door gets kicked open really fast. I jump and it's Wee Man going, "What the fuck are you doing in here?" And I'm kind of like, I'm just getting some drinks, man. He's like, "I'm just fucking with you. Hang out." And so, true story.
I'm not the only one who pictured that with Jess pissing his pants.
I kind of about did. I mean, there's this angry little person coming in at me. It's Wee Man. And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm just fucking with you."
What you're saying is, Chris's dong like the back of your hand, basically.
Well, we were watching it in 3D, and I saw the screenings before it was even released to the public. I saw their first cuts, and there was a lot more, I felt at the time, of his dong in my face. And so I brought it up. I got comfortable with these guys for a few minutes, and I'm like, "So, yeah, it was a hilarious movie, but there's a lot of your penis in it, Chris." And I thought, he's comfortable enough. He actually, I think, got a little self-conscious, was like, "You really think so?" Well, yeah, but it was funny, and I feel like they cut some by the final cut.
Are we just not to acknowledge that was all a circumcision joke you just told them?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it.
Oh man, I still need to see Jackass Forever. Those movies, I think that was another case of me seeing the sequel, the second installment in theaters. But man, I watched Jackass just as comfort viewing because I was, it's like when you were working really shitty jobs and you were broke and your sleep schedule was non-existent and you finally got a chance to relax and Jackass was on. It's like just sinking into a warm bath. It's just, oh, this is good. I can detach from real life and watch somebody get physically hurt.
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
There's a pogo stick scene in the new movie that made me nauseous, actually. I actually had to look away from it.
I can't wait. That'll be fun.
It's rough. It's really rough. I had to look away. And the horror movies don't do that. So there you go.
That's saying something.
Oh,
Man, Scream. We've talked Jackass and Fritz Lang. This is like the most.
Matrix, Jackass, Fritz Lang, Scream.
It shows how great
Yes.
this franchise is.
Yeah, that we're
Well,
talking about anything but the Scream movies.
Well, because there's nothing more to say than they're just a lot of fun.
I mean, mostly.
Is this on? Hello?
Yeah.
I'll mostly agree there.
Well, I'm sure I'll be in the
Do
minority
you?
on this as well, but I'm not really seeing too many trailers for movies that are interesting me that are coming up, except for one. And this is going to sound really strange coming from me, but I'm a big Elvis fan, so the new Elvis movie has me interested. I'm curious to see Kentucky Fried Tom Hanks, so
Is Baz Luhrmann directing that? Is that?
I have no clue. I seen Fat Tom Hanks, and I was like, "This is cool. I want to see this."
Yeah, no, I saw that trailer also, and it does look interesting. You know, but I never get around to
I don't
it.
think the guy looks anything like Elvis, but he sounds like him. So.
Oh yeah.
And you're damn right, Ben. You're damn right.
I
I
will-
think you will, Lauren. I mean, maybe
Um,
you won't now that I'm saying that you will, just to
I'll not bother.
defy me.
They'll get Christina
Done.
Ricci for the opening scene, and Lauren will be all over it.
Would
That's
that
true.
do it? Would that do it, Lauren?
No,
Christina
because the
Ricci
scene will
was-
be on YouTube and within a week, so I won't have to. I'm just. It's
He'll do an
Listen,
autopsy on the Christina Ricci.
if people get enjoyment out of these movies, there's nothing like I don't want them to not exist. I'm not one of those guys. It's just it's clearly something I'm never gonna feel strongly about. You know, they're just
And that's
they're their
okay,
own
too.
thing. They're their own thing, and they did bring commercially horror out of a slump in theaters. I'm grateful for that, I guess. But yeah, I don't get a thrill out of them. I don't really feel anything. And I got into this genre because as a kid, monster movies, which is what was my first love really before horror, monster movies made me feel things like a sense of adventure and scared and excited and kind of like gloriously out of my mundane life. Going to the movie to see Scream, it just felt like, oh, it's another one of these things. So that's not what I'm in love with. A lot of people love comfort food. I like to be taken out of my comfort zone. So these like nostalgia plays, whether they're called, Halloween or Candyman or Scream, just they're kind of the exact opposite of what I love about the genre. I love big swings. I like being scared of what I'll see. I like feeling like I'm watching something forbidden. And Scream is the exact opposite of something forbidden. It's so socially acceptable. It's not funny, and not everything has to be, transgressive. It doesn't have to be Cannibal Holocaust. I'm not saying that, but I have to at least not know what's going to happen in the next scene. And I mean, I could have given you a, time travel play-by-play as this movie unrolled, because all the setups were all very mechanical. All the payoffs were by the book. It's just, nothing against the filmmakers for the technical making of the film or the set designers, because I think it's a good looking film. But god damn, it was boring for me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm done. I mean, I'm just done.
I understand. I'll still be there though.
And I'm glad.
That's it.
I want people to love cinema more than I want them to like my opinion. That's for damn sure.
But I wouldn't want to change your opinion. I love your opinions, whether I agree and disagree, which happens often on both. So
Can I
don't
have you
stop.
answer some of my hate mail?
That would
Can
be
I
great.
answer it?
That would be kind of fun,
So-
actually.
Lauren, I don't think
I'll
I've
read
ever
it.
heard you actually specifically talk about this. And once again, it's not Scream related, but you said you like movies that take big swings. What was your thought on the Nightmare remake? I know Jess's thoughts on it.
So there's a
Good night.
lot of ideas there that could have made a great film. Unfortunately, the execution is so slapdash, and they rush through all of the interesting ideas.
Sorry.
This stuff I like. This stuff I like conceptually. Freddy being not guilty of the initial child molestation and murders. They introduced that idea and then discard it almost immediately.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea because that's a ghost story, which the original film is, right? The idea he's getting vengeance for being wrongfully killed by a mob of parents. That works
would've been
conceptually way better than even the first film. The idea of us taking away the kind of comfort of the Robert Englund Freddy into darker territory, I like that a lot. I'm not one of those people that say that Freddy could only be played by Robert Englund. Robert Englund has his take on the character. Another talented actor could come in and do a different take on it, and it would work brilliantly. In fact, I think that's necessary at this point because the Robert Englund thing has kind of worn out all those areas that are unexpected and exciting. Unfortunately, Freddy in the movie is kind of still kind of the Robert Englund version of it, even though it's being played by a different actor, and it doesn't really go anywhere with what Jackie Lee Haley brings to the screen, which isn't a terrible lot, to be completely honest. The micro naps as a concept could have worked, but they're used without consequence.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't change up the like general. If you're going to make a remake, you have to at least have one curveball in it as far as like which character is going to go or what time and it did none of that. It kind of just did the first film's like character dynamics exactly as were. So it's one of those films that doesn't look particularly great. It's an ugly looking film. It's edited poorly because there's some horrific jump cuts and some continuity issues with that movie. The acting is pretty awful at times because I think that film was retooled pretty extensively. And I don't care what anyone says, no actor comes back to reshoots with the same passion they did on the initial shoot. And I think you could tell in that movie. So it's kind of just unfortunate that they didn't stick with any of the big swings that they seem to have wanted to do, because as it stands, it's kind of just an annoying misfire. But listen, that's a franchise that I think has a lot of freaking problems, like a lot of problems. So it's just another film that doesn't work for me in that series.
Okay.
And I do agree with Levi, what he said kind of earlier. That is a good point. There was a lot more content to kind of play off of.
Could use a break for sure with 6, but we're getting it like next year, right? So I mean, it's going to be immediate almost.
And like Ben Grimm said, and Levi agreed, most of us will still be there to see it and give it a chance, which isn't a bad thing either.
As a podcaster, yes. If I didn't have a podcast, I don't know that I'd rush and see the next one in theaters, to be honest. I'll see it to review it, but yeah, I'm kind of... Same thing with Halloween.
I was just going to say, just like even though I have my issues, most of us will be there to at least finish off Halloween Ends.
Tell me how it goes.
I will.
Well, I'll spoil it for you already, Lauren. It ends.
And hey, Kory from S'mores and Doors.
Oh, that was not a good joke.
Guys. There's going to be the surprise twist at the end of Halloween Ends. It's only part 1. I'm like, no, remember how they used to do that with like things like Hunger Games and Harry Potter and fucking Twilight and part 1 of the last movie. Part 2.
I thought that's what they did with Halloween Kills, though. They just kind of filled it out. Oh, this is part 1 of...
I think it's gonna be Halloween Ends Part 1, Halloween Ends Part 2.
God, I hope
because
not.
I cannot have nice things in this world.
I hope not. And to answer your question. Oh, hey, Andrew. From Do Your Thing, Cuz. We're not talking about Dream Master. If somebody asked what the take was, check out the show next month. We might be talking about that. I know Lauren's excited.
Oh, you don't want me on that show.
We want you on every show.
We do. You have an open invitation. So, but if you don't want to be on that show, I understand.
You know, the thing about the Nightmare on Elm Street series is that it caught horror at a time when the traditional slashers were burning out, and it provided something different. It got very popular, and they cranked them out, and they didn't really know what they were doing.
It was great.
And so if you were along for that ride and you love it, I'm glad for you. For me, I love the first film. I kind of am okay with the second film. I'm kind of not okay with any of the rest at all.
My age hits it, like you just said. I was along for that ride at the right time, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, those films are a mess. I mean, whatever. The horror genre is not exactly filled with constant masterpieces. So
that's not why we love it.
That very, very true, Sam. And I hope to see. I know you're a Nightmare franchise, right, Sam?
Oh yeah, I'm very much a diehard fan. Like, yeah,
Well, that makes three of us.
Yes.
Yeah, like I saw something going around on Twitter about like this Fredheads documentary, and I'm like, I feel like maybe I should have reached out, and then I was like, wait, no, they're gonna be like, no, not you, because y'all have seen my behavior on social media. It's sort of like, because this is February, so it's Women in Horror Month, and I'm like, I'm a woman in horror, and they're gonna be like, no, not you. Your opinions aren't the right ones, and I'm like,
at least not for this age. What they're looking for as far as women in horror.
I know, and it's like, I have tits. What?
But you don't fit that mold,
men can
Sam.
give birth, so.
I say that with some sarcasm. And...
Well, it's just like, I mean, I fit all the requirements. I fit horror, and I'm a woman. Oh well. That's why I come over here and talk shit, shit about like just horror in general with all the cool people. That's like, I know we're not going to have the same opinions, but I don't want to have the same opinions.
Oh God, what a boring, even more boring show than to have than if we did all like jerk off these movies, every single one of them together.
That's kind of how I feel like it is, and just if you only go by Twitter and you only go by those popular feeds, or you only go by what Bloody Disgusting and Dread Central and Fangoria are putting out, that's all it feels like, and I'm not interested in that.
Darren, if you go back a couple years, there's a Sausage Factory episode that covers the entire Lucio Fulci catalog, which unfortunately is basically Lauren talks about the Lucio Fulci catalog because the other guys hadn't seen most of the films. But I'm always down to talk Fulci, always.
I'm definitely down to take that suggestion up for the next round if this show continues on. And thank you for the nice comment. We'll finish these up and I guess probably get on out of here because I think we have talked everything Scream that we can and more.
Somehow this is longer than a Scream movie.
It's more entertaining.
No, I did not expect that either, but I think that means most of you had a good time, if not all. So I'm glad of that. I know I did. I always have a good time with all of you guys. So thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having us on.
Always appreciate you coming on. This wouldn't be a show without you guys. So. And you in the chat as well.
As usual. Yeah, Jess, no, I stand Nightmare on Elm Street. I won't say that the movies don't have problems, but yeah, I mean, like I like the sequels, except like when we get to the remake, oof, and then Freddy versus Jason, oof.
Freddy's
and
dead
I love it.
Doesn't get an oof.
Well, what? Freddy's
We'll talk next month.
That is a comedic masterpiece. I know. I won't go farther into that.
We'll leave it as a teaser.
Oh, we got another one who's rooting for the Fulci suggestion. So thank you, Levi. Thanks for joining us too. Pretty new to the community.
Pretty great.
And yeah, let's go around. Let's tell everybody your channels because there are some new folks here. If they haven't heard of you, we'll just go clockwise. Sam.
Well, I am co-host with Lauren on Visited by Voices, so you can find us at Visited by Voices 1 on YouTube. I'm on Twitter most regularly at Sheeby_GBs, and I'm also doing film reviews for R82 Films, and they're just at R82 Films on Twitter.
Yeah, you can find me at Visited by Voices on YouTube, at Lauren Dixon on the Twitter, and you can just use the Amazon search engine if you would like to buy some fiction.
Buy
Some
some
really good
fiction.
horror fiction books for the layperson.
The labor. People who get laid.
Daniel Shine.
Flesh Wound Features on YouTube, and well, since everybody's talking like crappy horror movies in the chat, one thing that will be coming up is going to be our never-ending stream of Amityville films that are totally disconnected from Amityville horror. It will never end, but we're just going to drop one once in a while.
When are you doing Amityville Karen?
Oh, is there an Amityville Karen?
I think so.
Oh, well, that's news to me. Well, we'll try and get to it. The whole point is it never ends. So every once in a while, we'll just drop a one-off. You know, I think I know there's a few Amityville Shark movies, and there's that new zombie one that came out that I actually bought for this concept. So,
That sounds more fun than the actual movies they're pumping out. So
that's what we figure. We're determined to find one that's great. So we'll see how long we go before we do. Maybe that'll be the end point. We'll just call it when we find one worth watching.
Be careful, don't pull a muscle.
And we have other stuff too, but yeah, that's a newer one we're gonna do.
Alrighty then. Kory,
Jess.
you want to take us out on this? We got shows coming, specials.
Yeah, we'll we got one more episode of Jess Graham Live for your season?
Two more should be.
Two more? Okay.
I'm hoping there's somebody in this room right now who hopefully be the guest for March. And we'll do one more in April and then take the summer off. And if we get picked up again for season 2, we'll be back in the fall.
All right. We'll have another episode of the Horror Rumble coming up again next month. We'll figure out the topic for sure. We've got other things in the works. There was one of the
the giveaway.
The giveaway. We are really behind on that. 2 months now?
Since we hit 100 subscribers,
Yeah.
we got a little crappy care package with some channel merchandise maybe in it, and we'll have some sort of quick contest. More, it's just probably you'll mention something in the chat, and we'll randomly pick one person, and we'll mail them some shit.
It'll be fun. Like the Scream movies.
Oh.
That's not
It's like shit.
I don't know if that was a compliment or
that's really
the way things have been going tonight. And hey, Corny,
What's
thanks
up,
for dropping
Hayden?
by.
It was meant as a compliment. Yeah, but it'll be fun. So we will eventually get that out here soon-ish.
soonish.
Well,
Stay
we're
tuned
already
to
2
Cable
months
Channel
late,
11.
so
Thank you all. Good night.
good night.
I told you not to disturb me while I was cleaning my room.